060-60-973.
Nick Abbott.
Now, wait a minute. I don't like that kind of talk. Now, just stop it. It upsets me.
After the excitement of a roller coaster topsy-turvy night comes the picking over of the corpse of English football, as the papers had a field day today. What a tremendous opportunity to bury bad news. But if the government let out some shocking details of their own incompetence, we missed it as we were still reeling back open-mouthed at the last shocking details of their own incompetence. Alistair, just call me darling, darling, stated quite clearly that it was the banks who told him to keep the loss of the financial details of half the country quiet. Those evil, faceless high street behemoths were adamant that they wanted as much time as possible to put every security measure in place before telling us of their misplacement, he said. Nothing he could do. Our Chancellor, with our best interests at heart, simply had to bend to the will of the might of the banking industry and keep us in the dark about the peril that hangs over our bank accounts, our identities, and our money. Except the banks said, oh no we didn't. The British Banking Association didn't ask him to keep the loss of the discs quiet. The Association of Payment Clearing Services, APACS, didn't ask for time. Lloyds Bank didn't ask for a delay in telling the public. Neither did Barclays. So who were these official banks that demanded we be kept in the dark? Maybe he'd spoken to a blood bank, or a river bank, or Gordon Banks, the one-eyed geriatric goalkeeper, who would certainly have done a better job than that hapless wet dope who was in goal for England last night. He practically waved the ball past himself and into the net like he was directing traffic. Not that the rest of the team acquitted themselves too well either. Players that are regularly supermen for their league teams seem to act like the England shirts made of kryptonite when they pull it on. And the manager can't take all the blame. Sven-Göran Eriksson seems to be doing quite well. Now he no longer sups from the poison chalice that the FA proffers. So what is the difference between playing for your league club and playing for England? What differentiates the two jobs? Well, it's about £100,000 a week. That's what. Hey. So I didn't talk about it last night because the match was on at the during the show, and I thought that anybody that wanted to watch the match would be watching the match and not listening to me. But we have no such pleasure in ignoring it now, because it's all that most of the papers wanted to talk about, apart from the Independent, which had a tiny story inside going their own way as usual, and the front page was an explanation of all of the government departments that have all the details that the Inland Revenue just lost. And there's a part of me that's sort of glad that we're not going to Euro 2008. Yeah. Do you often still have to think about what year it is? I mean, at the beginning of the year, fair enough, when we used to write cheques, I used to have to check before I wrote my cheque, see what year it was, for about a month. But these days, I can never remember what year it is from the January to December.
I think the 2000s are very, very confusing.
Yeah, that's right. It's all the zeros. Very confusing. Yeah, it ain't just me.
Because I wrote a cheque the other day, I put 2007 and I thought, oh, is it?
Is it? Yeah. I had to check today. Seems ridiculous, really. But I suppose that's what you call the advancement of age.
I'm quite glad we're out as well.
Yeah, and the reason that I'm glad is, I mean, last night was tremendously exciting. It was dispiriting right enough when we went 2-0 down. And I don't want to talk about football all night long. I don't want to go into sports talk. But it's, you know, it's what the country is exercising our minds today. But it was tremendously exciting, and it was dispiriting, like I said, when we went 2-0 down. When we went 1-0 down, I thought, oh, blimey, as a team, we're still in the dressing room. 2-0 down, well, that's just flat-out embarrassing, particularly as we expected to romp. In fact, I half thought that the English FA would have a word with the Croatian FA, or whatever their equivalent is, and say, well, you know, shh, between you and me, you're through, so why don't you just, you know, do us a favour, and here's a couple of £100,000. Because it's worth at least 10 times that, right? It's worth millions us going through, supposedly. I mean, you can put any kind of figure you like on it, of the feel-good factor, and we're going to buy the shirts, and sponsorship that's coming in, and blah, blah, blah. But I think the bottom line figure that they've lost is something like £5 million. So don't you think you'd make some sort of effort to, you know, £500,000 in a brown paper bag? Football does that, doesn't it? So that's what I sort of expected, that they'd come to some sort of agreement, an arrangement, you know, and the Croatians wouldn't try very hard. And I thought, when the first one went in, they looked a bit surprised, the Croatians, as though they weren't expecting that. Well, none of us were. But surprised and not entirely pleased. I thought, the reading from their faces I got was, well, this isn't going to plan. Now we're going to have to try doubly hard to lose. We've mistakenly scored. But that wasn't... I obviously got that wrong. That must have been the Croatian poker face that they had. Not too pleased. The Croatians who travelled with their team, on the other hand, were... if there had been a roof on Wembley... Well, if there had been a roof on Wembley, then it wouldn't have been a swimming pool. It wouldn't have been polo they were playing. But they raised it. If there had been one there, they would have raised it, because the few of them that travelled, and you have to take your hat off to the Croatian supporters. There was so many of them, and they were so loud compared to our dispirited lot. And they were travelling to a game that wasn't really that important to them. I mean, they're through already, but they came here anyway.
I didn't realise last night's game was so important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
I know, but I don't follow it, so it was a bit of a shock today to read. I mean, it was big headline news that they were out today.
The front page of the Sun today, I think, eclipses almost everything they put on their front page to this day. That will go down as one of the great front pages, excuse me, of all time. Oh, that tasted horrible.
What was the picture? Because it was a picture, wasn't it?
It was a picture, and I suspect that there will be an investigation, Blue Peter style, about whether this is a representation or a mock-up. Because front page of the Sun, the only words on the front page are England 2, Croatia 3. And then there's the McLaren sack, pages 2, 3, 4, 5, and the great souvenir pull-out inside. But the picture takes up the entirety of the front page, and it's of a deflated England FIFA football in a gutter. Now, the photographer can't possibly have come across that in real life, so I suspect that there will be internal investigations, and someone, Blue Peter style, will have to be sacked, because that's not the truth, is it? And this is a paper that relies on us expecting that it would tell the truth at all time. Where do you go for veracity? The Sun.
Absolutely.
So I think that they obviously mocked that up. But it's just such an excellent front page. That's going to go down, that will be on their walls alongside Gotcha, which is a rather unpleasant front page, and Freddie Starr ate my hamster, which is still, to this day, laugh out loud funny. See, Alex couldn't help himself. But for balance, let me just say, Freddie Starr did not eat their hamster.
No, he didn't. Is that saying English football is in the gutter?
It's dead, yeah, deflated, dead, it's in the gutter, yeah.
That's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to regroup and reassess your life, isn't it, and start again.
When the game was over, it having been so tremendously exciting, and my Sky Plus, I Sky Plussed it when I was on, and it shaved the last 3 minutes of the game off. So I had to then go and watch the news and wait till the sports coverage came round to see whether we had actually pulled success from the jaws of defeat, which was kind of annoying, really, because it was I was on the edge of my seat. But at the end of it, when I realised that we're not going, there's a part of me that thought, well, you know what? I'm a little bit relieved, because I don't want to go through that anymore. I'm on pills as it is. I don't think I could stand it.
But we've got the Olympics next year, haven't we?
Oh, shut up.
I won't be watching it, but we've got that, so it's good we haven't got the footy as well.
When's the World Cup? When's that?
Well, it's always 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, the Euro is halfway between the World Cup. But I did feel a little bit of relief that next summer we can just breeze through it, humming a merry tune, without the fear that our hearts are going to explode out of our chests.
But we'll start supporting all those small countries, won't we? We'll get into that, because we need to support somebody.
Well, yeah, we do like the underdogs, which is why we support our own team so very much. Why they are such dopes when they pull on an England shirt, no one has any idea. I mean, really, we're clueless.
So is Scotland out as well? Is everyone from the British...
Well, nobody would have expected Scotland to go through, to be fair.
Are Wales in, or out?
Well, nor them, either. Well, no, I don't... No one's through.
Northern Ireland?
Are they?
I don't know.
Right.
I'm asking.
No, I would... And I don't know either. I was concentrating all my efforts on England, willing them to...
Are France in?
...be less of a bunch of dopes on the pitch. France, almost certainly, yes. I'd bet...
We'll have to support them then, because they're our nearest neighbours.
I'd bet the donut I just ate on it, which I'll probably be seeing again before the show's out. It was awful. There's a big tray of donuts downstairs.
And you couldn't resist.
Well, no, I haven't had a donut in years. And we'll have to go with the travel, and then we'll come back and we'll discuss donuts at length. It's 7:16. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. Some better news from the city. Clerkenwell Road has just
Nick Abbott.
Yeah.
Do we like donuts? Because I saw a tray of them. I haven't eaten a donut in years and years and years. Not since an American company came over here and everyone was rushing around, screaming and shouting and pulling their hair out, saying what fantastic donuts they were. And you must really try a box. So I went and had a box, and it was like... Well, they weren't crispy for a start. They were soggy, and it was like eating soggy fat. And while you're eating them, your brain thinks... Well, you get a distant calling in the back of your brain. You can barely hear it. It says, "Warning, warning! Stop eating this stuff right now." But I couldn't, because once you started, you've got to finish, right? It was bright white with luminous sprinkles on it, in a colour not found in nature. How could that not be natural?
That's why you couldn't stop eating it.
No. And I feel horrible now. I feel like I've got a brick of fat that's
I
in
warned you.
Yeah, that's in my stomach, but it's also coating the entire inside of my mouth. And I've tried to strip the inside of my mouth off by drinking instant coffee, which normally does it. Kills everything stone dead. That stuff does. No good. I feel bilious, Helen.
I warned you.
Yeah. Well, you should have warned me more clearly.
Well, it was kind of that moment where you had your gob open and about to shove it in.
Gob?
Your mouth.
Oh, right. Yes. Anyway, I feel a bit... you know...
I'm not surprised.
I ate the whole
We'll
thing.
try not to think about...
Yeah. All right, yes.
You'll be all right.
Let's move on. Banstead. Oh, Charlotte.
Hello, Nick.
Charlotte.
How are you?
I am... okay.
I didn't go to work. I didn't have to go today. And I was listening to... Is it James somebody this morning, 110?
That's right, James somebody,
Yeah,
yeah.
everybody was putting England down. And I know we should... Hopefully we should have won. But I did watch the match last night, and I'm not into football, so everybody's going to say put me down. But we were 2-0 down, weren't we?
Yeah.
And when Beckham come on, then they scored 2 goals in about 10 minutes.
You can say, yeah, you can say what you like about David
But we're not
Beckham.
too bad, did we, really?
He's like a prancing clothes horse and desperate for fame and just a money-making, soulless machine and so on and so on. But he does give good effort.
I know, because, you know, as I said, we were 2-0 down, and then we got 2 goals within 10 minutes, which
Right.
was good, which made it a draw. But unfortunately, isn't football just luck as well as skill? I mean, it's just one of those things, wasn't it? No?
It is.
So I should call that
Yeah, it's
goal.
in a very real sense, it's a game of two halves.
I mean, you've got to have skill, but it must be some luck.
Well, that's just life, isn't it? I mean, everything to do with life has got a lot to do with luck.
Yes, yeah. But I thought they did pretty well. As I said, they scored 2 goals within 10 minutes, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And, but I heard someone did the programme this morning, and everybody was putting them down.
Well, quite right.
Yeah, all right.
You don't.
I know.
But you thought that we did for the moment there. If we had just been judged on the snapshot of those 2 goals that we got, we'd have done super fantastically well. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, you don't judge it that way. We should have won.
No, you have to take into account the other 80 minutes as well. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. You watched some of it, did you?
All of
On
it.
and off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really sorry. Well, like you, I'm not into football, but...
But it does mean that...
I can understand how people are so distressed about it.
Yeah, well, the reason that they're distressed about it is because we're supposed to have invented this game. We're supposed to be really good at this, but frustratingly, for the last 40 years, we actually haven't. Well, there was one blip where we beat Germany 5-1, right enough, that was great, but you'd have to say that apart from that, not that great.
We haven't got very far, have we?
No.
The other match. Well, who do you think they should bring in as coach?
Well, I'm not one to leap to attack the coach because he gets so very little time with the players. The players aren't unused to each other. They play each other either in the same teams or against each other on a regular basis. So it's not like they've never met before. Neither is it like they have to play constantly in order to pass the ball from one player to the next, which we seem to be totally unable to do. So and if it was the coach, then how come Sven is doing so very well these days? So it's not the coach. There's just something. There's a malaise in the team.
Yeah, I heard David Beckham talking about the new one, and he was saying maybe you should take one from abroad.
Yeah, well, they certainly will.
What about, can't pronounce his name.
Jose.
The Portuguese one.
Yeah, Jose.
Yeah, well, he's good.
Well, I don't know, is he?
Yeah. Well, he was good for Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea have all the money in the world. I could probably have acting as coach, could have made them play relatively well with all that money at my disposal. The thing with the next coaches, and if Jose Mourinho takes it, he will undoubtedly carve out the most lucrative career in the history of football management. He's going to get so much money. But because they're desperate now, and if the fans want Jose, then he'll be the first one that they go to. Because the FA, they want to get the heat off them. So I think their first port of call is to do what the majority of the fans want them to do. They don't want to start making it up now. They just want to see if they can get out of the firing line for a while. So they'll make a non-controversial choice, which is what we're all clamouring for, apparently. What all the bets are on to get Jose.
I listen to Clive Ball quite a lot, and he's into football.
Yeah.
And he said about him, so I can't pronounce his name. He said we should have him.
Say Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
And then say Joe. Jose.
Mourinho.
Oh, well, forget the second bit. Let's just take this one step at a time, shall we?
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot, Charlotte.
Okay.
Cheers, ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. But no, I am... because it's stress, isn't it? There's precious little pleasure. It's all about the stress. So that means that next summer we can sail through it stress-free. And the footballers in question will actually get a holiday, which they wouldn't have got otherwise. They'd have had to play football for the entire year. Now they can just wander around and think about spending some of their money.
Because we are always collectively just waiting for the game where we get knocked out, basically.
Well, we're always struggling is the thing. There's never, it's never easy. And so it is always a stressful experience to watch an England game. And I know that people do subject themselves to stressful experiences for pleasure. That's what roller coasters are all about, and that's what horror movies are for, and so on. But I think that there's something extra with watching your football team, because you invest so much in the result. Whereas with a roller coaster, you know you're going to end up back where you started, and everything will be fine. With football, it might all end in tears.
It's a mugs game, football. It's like gambling.
It's a mugs game.
Because of just what you said.
Right. What did I say? I wasn't listening.
It's heartbreaking.
Yes.
It's too... I know people that follow... Well, we all do, don't we? We know people who really follow a football team.
Yeah.
And when their team loses, there's doors slamming, there's crying.
Well, it's one of the few opportunities left to the human race for tribalism, which is hardwired into our brains. It's from when we used to run around and hunt buffalo, or whatever it was we had a yen for. And these days, of course, it's very much discouraged. Well, there's precious little opportunity for it. I mean, companies, you can say that you're rooting for your company and you watch Steve Jobs unveiling the latest tiny little thing, and the audience of his employees will go crazy and start whooping because, you know, they're a part of that team. But that's a bit nerdy, and people don't often feel that way about the company that they work for, because, you know, basically we are all wage slaves, we are prostitutes, just doing it for the money.
But, Nick, the other mass gathering, which doesn't attract violence, is music.
Right.
Is going to gigs. I've been to a gig at Wembley.
Yeah. But that's not exactly true.
But that's a tribe, isn't it?
It does. Well, no, it does. If it's one tribe against the next, mods and rockers, then there was no end of violence there. Grebos and what was the other one? Or were rockers Grebos?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, you had to choose at school. It was very important. You couldn't like the Rolling Stones and the Who.
Or the Beatles, yeah.
You could. Well, no, you couldn't like the Beatles because that was a girls' band. But enough of that.
Nick Abbott.
Affirmative.
Here is Putney. Brenda.
Oh, good evening, Nick. How are you?
I am all right, thanks.
Well, we're all sitting in the dark here.
Are you?
We got a power cut. And I'm just wishing now that it happened yesterday, last night, other than to watch that most dreary, awful game, those overpaid footballers. Unbelievable.
Oh, I don't think it was a dreary game, Brenda. It was tremendously
dreary,
exciting, wasn't it?
No, dreary to watch footballers that are being paid hundreds of thousands of pounds to play football,
right,
and just watch them. I mean, Steven Gerrard, he looked, well...
Wet.
I was going to say the naughty word, but...
Don't do it.
You know, he looked as if he was, anywhere but at Wembley, I think.
It's odd that they spent all of that money on a stadium, which looks good from the outside. It's the only angle I've seen it at up close. It looks good on television, but the pitch. What's going on with the pitch? Didn't they? Like
as if they were yomping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Across the moors.
Yeah, yomping. Because I mean, how can anybody? I imagine that if you lived in Croatia and you're paying a fraction, you're paid a fraction of the amount that English footballers or anybody that plays for English clubs get paid. I imagine they're used to being playing on sort of inferior grounds, but to spend all that, how much? £800 million?
Well, that's what they say to us. So let's just say it's $1 billion.
Oh yeah, $1 billion, yes, but there's more like it.
Yeah.
And to watch that last night was, I thought, an absolute disaster. Like this country is, nothing works.
Oh,
Nick,
come on!
Nothing works, Nick.
How come you're in the dark?
Well,
can't you afford the lecky?
Nick, we have this every so often in Putney.
Do you?
This is quite a regular habit. Yeah. Yeah, the tubes don't... That's Marie, who you speak to quite often. She's now watching the DVD on her laptop. Because that's
Right.
I mean, you know, the tubes don't work, the trains don't work.
The roads don't work.
The roads don't work. The national health is completely... Well... I mean, that's a disaster.
You're about to say another naughty word.
Yeah, another naughty word, and I try not to. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll come back to that little young man you were talking to.
Who?
Well, he's sweet.
Which one?
The little guy. Alan, what's his name?
Alan.
You were talking about football, and he was stressed out because they lost the football.
Was that on this show?
Yes, about 20 minutes ago. And you were teaching about to say Jose Mourinho.
Oh, that wasn't a man. That wasn't a boy, that was a lady.
Oh, sorry.
Oops. It's probably,
really?
yeah, it's probably difficult to tell the difference in the dark, as you are, Brenda.
Oh, now we got flashing lights outside here. It looks like we've got,
It's like Beirut down there in Putney.
Now.
Huh.
It's all happening here. Yeah, to speak.
So, is it just you? Hang on a minute, Brenda. Calm down. Is it just you, or is it whole roads have gone without light?
Whole roads and blocks are here.
Well, which part of Putney are you? You don't have to tell me exactly where.
Just off of the Putney Hill.
What, West Hill?
No, Putney Hill.
Where's Putney
Not
Hill?
West Hill? Putney Hill. That comes up from Putney High Street, and then Upper Richmond Road goes across,
right,
and then the hill goes up from the Putney High Street up towards Wimbledon.
Oh, you're calling that Putney, are you?
That's Putney Hill. Oh, you're being rude. I want to know, you such an expert, how much you know about football.
I'll tell you exactly how much I know about football, Brenda, and I'll be absolutely candid with you, and I won't lie. Nothing.
Oh, well, I thought you were an authority when you were speaking to that lady. Sorry, lady. Sorry, what was her name? I thought you called her Alan, you see.
No. Oh, blimey. Help me out here, Helen.
She's talking about me?
No,
Charlotte.
Charlotte,
oh,
yeah.
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Charlotte didn't sound any more like a woman than anyone else.
I know.
Sorry?
Have you been on the Wacky Juice, Brenda?
No, in fact, we're finding it very difficult. It's only because we've got a gas top to our oven that we can make ourselves a cup of tea in the saucepan.
Right, as you'll be lighting your fags off it, yeah.
We don't smoke in this house.
Good for you. Not in Putney, of course not.
No.
All right, well, listen, I hope that the lights come on soon.
Well, we've been off for now an hour and a quarter.
And you say this happens a lot?
Sorry? This happens a lot, yes. Not so much last year, but 2 years before that, we had this regular, and every time the lights went out, so our lift didn't work. So we had to call in the contractors to get the lift to work again. So that cost us loads of money. So we had to have a load of work done on it so when the lights come back on, it overrides it.
Right. Well, that's what you get for living south of the river, I suppose.
Well, I don't know, but that's another thing that doesn't work here.
And another thing, yeah.
And, I mean, we're completely clapped up here. We are really. I mean, anybody ring in and say different, I'd like to hear it.
All right, well, let's see what happens. Thanks a lot, Brenda.
Thank you.
Cheers,
bye.
my dear. Ta-da. In short...
Stop whining.
Here is, Buckinghamshire. Simon.
Hello there, how you doing?
Good, thanks.
That lady that you just had on, she could speak for England.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, I've got to ask you something now. You just said that you don't know nothing about football, yeah?
Correct.
Right. So, look, you got a team of football players, right? 11 players go to play another team, and they lose, yeah?
Mm.
Whose fault would it be? I mean, it would obviously mean that the team, your players, they're not playing, good enough, basically, yeah?
It's the players. Everybody concentrates on the manager. It's not the man. He ain't playing football. Yeah. He's just standing under an umbrella on the sidelines.
Fair enough, he's a manager. You'd need a manager with a lot of teamwork, no matter what you do. Fair enough, but at the end of the day, when it comes to, performance and stuff, it's down to the players. And if they played, not good enough, then the way English football is going these days, I'll be honest with you, I think, they should start sacking players as well. If a player has 4 or 5 bad games, all right, you're sacked, mate. It's just going crazy.
Right. Well, in a sense, they do that just by not picking them anymore.
Yeah, but managers are always getting sacked. You
have to sort of feel a bit sorry for David Beckham because he's not going to get that magic 100th cap now, in all probability.
Yeah, of course. But back in the days, managers, they used to last quite a long time, and I don't think football are passionate enough in England, to be honest with you.
Right.
I don't want to sound rude or anything, but if you go to other countries, you've got little kids playing football all over the place with passion, even when they get older. I'm not sure if majority of countries that aren't really as well, basically haven't got as much as we have here. I mean, they probably play it with a passion. They're not really fussed about money, but these days it's all about money. And how much do they get paid? £100,000 a week?
Well, not everybody, no.
Or even 50 grand a week, let's say.
Yeah.
2 games of football you've got to play a week and a couple of training sessions, and you can't even do that.
I suppose being so very comfortable would take the edge off a bit.
Yeah, well, that's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, thanks a lot, Simon. Oh, not even a cheers, mate, goodbye. Just slammed the phone down. That's how upset he is. Hey, what have you got to eat there, Alex? Don't eat the donuts. Believe me, it's backing up on me, and it tastes even worse coming back than it did going down.
I walked past them.
Yeah.
Twice,
don't do it.
And they were calling me.
Don't answer. Ricelip. Hello, Nicky.
Hi, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I just want to find out. I came to this country in 1971. We beat Germany 5-1.
Yeah.
I just want to find out, did we have a lot of players that time? Were there a selection of a lot of players, or where they only limited players, like maybe 15 in a squad, and we used to choose 11.
Did we have... what's the question?
A lot of selection. You know, like at the moment, we might have 25 England players, and we choose 11 out of that. What a lot of choice that time.
Well, sorry, the choice is of anybody that is fit and walking around and is English.
Okay, the other thing I want to ask you is, I'm glad you said that, because at the moment, when you saw us losing 2-0, you can see the pressure on people's face, like Lampard, Joe Cole, and you could see they were frightened of losing their place and everything.
I didn't see that. In the first half, I didn't see any effort at all. It seemed like, it's a bit wet and this pitch is a bit unpleasant and we'd rather not be here. Thanks very much. And then they must have got shouted at in the dressing room during half-time because they came out and played with a bit of fire.
Yeah, I just can't understand how come a player like Lampard, Joe Cole play good for Chelsea and they play for the international, they can't play well. Is it because of a lot of pressure at the ground? Or
I really don't know the answer to that, and if I did, then I would be picking up that £2.8 million.
I personally feel really a lot of pressure, sir, honestly.
Yeah.
I think they've got a lot of pressure because if they're playing good at the club, and they can't play good for the country, I think they're frightened of losing their players and they don't want to make a mistake. And when you're always fighting, you're bound to make mistakes.
So it's pressure. It's our fault. Is that what you're saying?
No,
the pressure of expectation on our part is making them play badly.
Maybe you're right, sir. Maybe I know what you're trying to say, but I think maybe the pressure is really killing them. I think when you're playing for the country, I mean, you want to play good for the country, and you're frightened of losing your space, and I think that's the reason maybe they're not playing well, yeah?
Well, maybe they need a little bit more pressure. Maybe they need a little bit more fear. Maybe we need to start finding them, taking their cars away, something like that.
But I think what one should do is, if they start playing for England, they should not get salary for 3 weeks. How is that?
If they play for England, then they don't get salary
for 3 weeks, and that money goes to charity.
If they play and don't play well, you mean?
No, if they play for England, let's find out if they're really keen to play for the country.
Oh, I see.
Whether it's money or not money. If they play for England, they don't get salary for 3 weeks, and that money goes to charity. How is that?
Good luck with that one.
Thank you.
All right, cheers. Ta-ra. 7:45. Here's Travel Now with Alan Joyce.
Thanks, Nick. And
It's a good idea to get someone else's opinion.
An opinion about anything other than football. I'll be happy to talk about something other than football, because I'm not going to do a football show for 3 hours, because, honestly, I don't know what I'm talking about. Just listen to me. The nice man on the news, about 20 minutes or so ago, said that the average wage in London was significantly higher than the rest of the country. Now, I thought that the average wage in this country was around 22,000. The average, which means that there's a lot of people earning sort of 10,000, 12, 15,000, and a few people earning around sort of 50, and precious few people above that, right? He said that the average earnings in London was £45,000 a year. That cannot be true. But that's what he said. That we're something like 20, or he said £15,000, I think, more than the national average. Well, I think the national average is... But then the way of working out averages differs with whatever statistician you'd be talking about, because there's at least 3 different types of average that I can think of. But let's say it's you crunch everybody's salary down and you divide by the amount of people who you've surveyed, and you come out with 45 grand. That's way too high. Who earns 45 grand in London? I mean, people in the city, of course, they earn uncountable trillions over there, but that's them. And there's not many of them, and they all live in Mayfair and Kensington and Chelsea, and they bank offshore, so we don't really know how much they earn. So it's almost like they're out of the equation. But I just don't believe that. I mean, who earns 45 grand? Consultants, GPs, that's it.
They earn a bit more than that, don't they?
They certainly do. Our prudent government organised a new contract with them in order to cut waiting lists and treat more people, and so they paid them more. They thought they were going to pay them something like 3 or 5% more. Turns out they paid them 25% more because they made an accident, and they actually work less, according to the new contract, because the government seem to be unable to draw up a contract that's in our best interest. They had negotiated with these people for about 2 years, the consultants, and then they just, I think they just couldn't stand it anymore. And so they said, oh, well, I'll tell you what, we'll write it on the back of a fag packet and you just sign this. And the consultants tried to, well, they saw it and they tried to maintain a poker face. Mentally, they were dancing around the campfire, you know, naked, eating donuts. And so they actually got a quarter of their salary more, 25% increase for working less.
But they're supposed to be better at their jobs, aren't they? They're more efficient.
No, they actually more efficient.
That's what the doctors are claiming.
Right, well, they would, wouldn't they? Because otherwise it'd be too embarrassing. I mean, GP's salary has gone up, it's over 100 grand a year now to go and see your GP. When do you get to see your... I'm fortunate enough, I can call up and see my GP virtually that day, usually, which is good, because I see him every other day. I have some sort of very important, life-threatening problem. But most GPs... You call them up, and you're either going to be cured or dead by the time you see them, right? Because they're open from 9 till 11 on Monday morning, and then they don't show up on Tuesday, and Wednesday they're open between 4 and 6, and never on Saturday or Sunday. So what justification can there possibly be to give them a 25% increase and pay them over 100 grand for working, on the face of it, not a dozen hours a week?
I don't know.
What a racket, eh?
Absolutely.
If only I was brighter than I am, I could have gone into the medicine racket.
Wasn't it? So they'd work out of hours more or something like that?
That's right. But they're not doing that, because I think they wrote the contract, or the government didn't have any idea what it was doing. It just couldn't be bothered to negotiate with these people anymore, so they just threw money at them and thought, oh, job done. And apparently it's quite removed from that. But anyway, that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. That the average wage in London is 45 grand. I just don't believe it, because what do most people do in London? It's service industries, right?
Yeah,
we're working in shops. We're waiting and waiting. We are, and what else?
Hotels.
Yeah, all of that low-paid stuff that that's you'd be lucky to break 20. Only with tips would you actually earn enough to survive. I've now come to the point that in restaurants, I always ask now, and this is having read A.A. Gill, who is an expert in eating out, ask whether the service charge actually goes to the waiting staff, because usually it doesn't. Even in famous upmarket places and chains and places that you think 12.5% service charge, which I do object to, by the way, if it's just drink. You sit at a bar, like I did the other day, and you order a cocktail. I was feeling flush, so I went out and had a cocktail. Do you know how much a cocktail is these days? Good grief. Oh, sneezing. Poor babe. And she sneezed into her elbow crook. Did you see that?
Yeah, because I listened to you, Nick.
There you are, you see.
I don't drink cocktails. Yeah.
Well, no, neither do I, ordinarily. I'll mix them at home, but I just think they're just a giant rip-off. But anyway, I went out, had a cocktail, £10.50 for a drink.
What? You're joking.
No.
One drink?
Yeah, plus...
For just you?
Yeah.
Just the one for you?
So 2 was £21.
Well, where were you? In some flashy bar?
Well, it wasn't flashy, it was...
Oh, it must have been.
Well, it was pleasant.
Well, a bit flashy, though.
Well, yeah, but it was pleasant.
I know you're worth it, but...
It was okay. But on top of the £21, 12.5% service, and we were sitting at the bar, so the service involved handing the drinks to us. But you can't say, can you take the service off, because what's this actually for? You didn't come and deliver it to me, I'm sitting here. But I did ask whether the waiting people got the...
What was wrong with your local British Legion, or... What was wrong with going down there for a pint?
They had completely run out of those little paper umbrellas, and I'm sorry, but it's very important to me. Hey, Mario?
Yeah?
Can you hang on for just a minute? I'll come back to you, all right?
All right, then.
LBC.
London's
Wilson, Mario.
Hello.
Hey, Mario.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yes, very good.
Good, good. No, I'm listening to you talking about the football.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? It's just interesting to hear everyone's comments. You know what I mean? From this morning, like, right up to now, and, like, how everyone's got something to say. Right. I'm not really like, I love football, but I don't really follow it up. You know what I mean? Just like probably the team that I support. Do you know what I mean? I support Tottenham Hotspur. They haven't been doing well at all, but at the end of the day, I support them, and it's something that's loyal.
Right.
That's been supporting them as a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're part of a tribe.
Absolutely. Right. Now, you got this guy just got sacked from England, right? Now, he's been with the England team for quite a while, hasn't he? Because I've always seen him under the last manager sitting down next to, was it Ericsson and that?
He's been there or thereabouts.
Yeah. Now, everyone's saying, he's this and he's that and he's this and he's that. But the thing is he's probably of not managerial pedigree, do you know what I mean? Because, you see, a football team is like an army, do you know what I mean? Now, you've got to design it, You've got to design your team. There's so many players in an England squad. Right, you've got a goalie, which is obviously the main barrier. Then you got the two
defense.
that
defense.
Yeah, the defense. Then it goes on. So you're looking for strikers, you're looking for defense, and you're looking for a goalie. I don't think he was of managerial pedigree. Do you know what I mean? To design, he wasn't he wasn't a leader. Now he got given this job as a chance, I think, and he took his chances. Now he had someone like Terry Venables, which is, to me personally, right, Terry Venables used to be with Tottenham Hotspur, but I think he's the biggest critic out there. He's the one with the biggest mouth, but why couldn't he help this man?
Well, I just don't subscribe to it's the manager's fault. He gets precious little time with the team. The team aren't strangers to football or
there you
each
go again.
other.
All right then, point two then. Fair enough. Right, now you're not blaming the manager, you're going to blame the team. Let me tell you something, yeah? We've got all these teams in England we've got all these teams, how you call them, like league teams, yeah? You don't know whether there's like football player rivalry going on backstage, do you know what I mean? There's probably a lot of football player rivalry. They're probably like arguments. You don't even know who don't like.
Yeah, but you know what? Who cares? Just get on with it for the greater good,
How can you? It's all in the mind, isn't it? They're not going to get on with each other. And this is the problem you're going to have on the pitch. You're going to have what? You're going to have Gerrard shouting to Terry, like, yeah, but how do you don't know if these guys are really getting on, if they're the best.
Well, yeah, but you could say that for any league team. I'm sure wait a minute. I'm sure that the players in any team that you care to mention aren't actually chums, are they? They don't go out and...
Because every Saturday they're probably playing against each other anyway, and then next minute they got to play for their national team.
But you're right when you when you said army. I mean, the people in the army aren't necessarily friends with each other, but they're all pulling together as a team.
And
right.
The problem we've got here now, where everyone's saying these guys are getting paid, yeah? Now, you go into other countries, these guys ain't getting as much paid, but they've got to pull through because they all want to achieve something. These guys ain't hungry no more.
Right, okay. Well, I think that hunger is a good word to end on. Thanks a lot, Mario. Yeah, they ain't hungry enough. It's because they're so very comfortable, perhaps, in their day job, that the pennies that they'll get from playing for England just don't do it for them anymore. So the path for us is obvious. We must have a whip round for them. The Bradford and Bingley did a survey about love letters. What would they do that for? Excuse me, we are the Bradford and Bingley. We're just checking whether you've sent your loved one a perfumed letter lately. Mind your own blooming business and get back to counting my money. What a bizarre thing for them to do. I can't imagine why they would do that. They're a bank, right? Or a building society. What on earth would they be prying into people's personal... Can't think of a word that begins with P.
Life.
That doesn't begin with P. Is it a silent P? Plife.
People's personal...
Plife. Yeah, you're right. I'm confused. But they did it, presumably, so that people like me, fools, would say Bradford and Bingley on the air over and over and over. So...
Job well done.
Nationwide. Aha. Talking about things other than football would be super fantastic. 0845 60 60 973. First of all, to a country that cares not one jot about the game. Atlanta, Georgia, USA. Hello, Steve.
How's it going?
Good,
Happy
thanks.
Thanksgiving.
Well, we don't do that here.
I know, but you can still be happy.
We're HAPPY.
In fact, didn't you guys sort of bring that over here?
Didn't we bring it over there?
Yeah.
We brought a lot of, pilgrim, notions over there, and thanking God for the harvest is probably one of them, yeah. It's our fault, is that what you're saying?
About the football. And I think the English team should support the Netherlands now.
The Netherlands?
Yes, because A, they are pretty close, geographically. B, they all speak English really well,
and it's
better than most of the English players.
And we've never been at war with them in living memory.
Yes, and C, their team very much resembles the English national team in that they are almost entirely made up of overpaid, egotistical Premiership tossers.
Oh. Okay. Are we happy with that word, Helen? I suppose so. I didn't think you used that in America.
They're all stars,
in the Dutch team. Yeah, well, you could say that about any major European team. Listen, as an American, Steve, you know less about football than I do.
Okay.
Deafening silence. Yeah.
Well,
Thanksgiving, then. What did you? All right, never mind about football anymore. What did you do for Thanksgiving? Is it today, Thanksgiving?
Well, it is today, but actually, my family's not very traditional, so we decided to do the meal yesterday, and I had 8 people from my family come in. I cooked a huge turkey dinner, mashed potatoes, raw oysters as appetizers.
Ooh.
Totally gourmet. You don't like oysters?
I don't really understand the appeal. They're slimy. You don't leave them in your mouth long enough to taste them. What's...
They do. If you get the good ones, like around here, they come straight from the South Carolina waters. And they're great.
But you put them in your mouth and you can't chew them, and you just swallow them. What's that?
A little bit of Tabasco. So I just think it tastes great.
Okay. Tastes like...
And then I did brunch this morning. I made brunch for everyone. Eggs, sausage, bacon, pancakes.
Well, you're on a strict diet over there, obviously.
Yes, exactly.
So Thanksgiving, is it always on is it always this date in the calendar, or is it the last Thursday?
Thursday before the last Friday.
And it's the starting gun in America for the Christmas buying period, right? Tomorrow in the shops.
The day after Thanksgiving
is the worst shopping day of the year, right?
Day. Yeah. My brother-in-law, who's an economist, told me asked me a very interesting question that I would like to see if you think you know the answer to. The bottom 50% income earners in America, what percentage of the federal government's income tax do you think that they pay?
The bottom 50%?
The bottom 50%. What percentage do you think they pay out of the total government tax revenue? Income tax revenue.
Right. Well, my initial thought would be a very, very small amount. But then I thought, well, hang on a minute, because the people who earn a lot are adept at not paying anything at all. And that's the case in this country just as much as it is in yours. So I'll say the bottom 50% of earners in the American economy pay 80% of the tax of that the government collects a year.
No, it's actually negative 1.5%.
So I was close.
The point being that, all tax cuts are tax cuts for the rich.
Yeah.
Like when they say they're, making a tax cut that's across the board, it's only for the rich.
Right. Well, they're the ones that pay the most tax.
Yes, and deservedly so.
Okay. It's not actually the rich that pay the most tax. It's the middle class. The rich know 1,001 ways to get out of paying tax, and that's what all the big accountancy firms are in the business of doing. preventing their clients from having to cough up like the rest of us. It's the poor saps in the middle who don't earn quite enough to employ, to employ all of these fancy offshore and all of this stuff that goes on. It's the people in the middle who can afford it the least, really.
Yeah, that 45% in between the top and the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is most of us.
Yeah, exactly.
Being squeezed dry.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, well, have a great day, and try and get some turkey.
Yeah, okay, try and get some Alka-Seltzer. I think you'll need it. Cheers, Steve.
All right.
Thanksgiving. That's one thing, one American holiday, or holidays as they say it over there, we haven't even attempted to bring over here, because Halloween was a thing that we didn't really... I mean, I can remember as a kid bobbing for apples and Halloween, but not going from house to house in a costume trying to get sweets. That's Americana, isn't it?
Mm.
And only relatively recently have we brought that over here. So we do like a holiday, and we have dragged American-type holidays, but not that one.
I remember begging on the streets. We built a guy when I was about 8.
Yeah.
And we did actually beg on the streets, which...
How much did you get?
I was just wondering where my parents were, actually. Quite a bit. I'm surprised we didn't get picked up as well.
Picked up?
By strange people.
Oh.
We were tiny. We were little, tiny.
Yeah,
I remember carting this guy round, begging, effectively.
But you're only surprised you didn't get picked up by strange people now, because the press is throwing that scenario at you on a daily basis, whereas in the old days, it were grand when I were a lad. Oh. Here's the man to collect the rubbish. It was probably just as infrequent a phenomenon as today. It's just that the press didn't bellow about it quite as much, and that's the difference between the now and then. Less bellowing. Isn't that right? I'll just assume that you think that's correct and move on. Crawley, Steve.
How you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Good, mate. Listen, it's quite ironic, really, and I think maybe you might be psychic, but you were talking about, just before 8 o'clock, you were grumbling about the tip payment on your drinks.
And I don't mind, like, I'm happy to pay tips.
Yeah, well, you know, this is what I was going to say, I'm sure you are, but, you know, it's, you're quite right, you should have a tip for a service, yeah?
Yeah.
You don't consider you're getting a service by being handed a drink, do you?
Well, there's no... presumably the service part was them making it, but I can't consume it unless they make it.
This is very true, and to be honest, that's like part of their job anyway, and that's why you're there and you pay for that.
Yeah, well, that's not part of their job. That's the entirety of their job.
Well, indeed, it is, indeed.
Now, if I was sitting at a table, and I'd ordered at the table, and they went away, and then they brought the drink to me, well, that's sort of different. But as I was at the bar, there was no bringing involved. There was no service involved. They just put it on they put it in front of me.
Yeah, this is entirely true. I mean, do you tip in restaurants, yeah?
Always.
You tip in a restaurant?
Always, always, always.
Would you tip in, fast food delivery people when they come to your door? Do you tip them?
Yes.
Amazingly, you see, now, the reason I'm phoning is because it's a real bugbear with me, is it's something I've always done, is tips people when they come to the door. I thought it was a natural thing for people to do. I honestly thought that the UK population, like the Americans, tipped people for a service of bringing food to your door.
I think that we are actually notoriously bad at tipping in this country.
Well, I can absolutely guarantee we are. I've recently been working for a delivery company.
Oh, yeah.
And
delivering what?
Fast food for a pizza company.
Okay.
And it's absolutely shocking. I will visit probably 25 properties every night with deliveries, and probably 1 or 2% of those will tip me.
You're kidding?
No, I'm serious.
Which part of town is that?
Well, I live in Crawley, so, I mean, it's, the whole place in Crawley, everybody in Crawley, they're a tight bunch, and let me say that on LBC, I don't mind.
So, over a night's work, you could go the entire night, nobody would tip you for bringing them hot pizza?
I've gone home with a penny. I've gone home on a penny after a Saturday night's work, which is absolutely true, and I find it amazing. I sometimes think, well, maybe I'm just expecting too much, and maybe people aren't really like that, and, you know, maybe it's just me that tips, but I really can't honestly imagine how somebody can sit at home, make an order on the phone, sit in a warm house, watching the TV, save their petrol money, save their time, save their hassle. Someone comes to their door in the pouring rain, delivers them hot food, and they say nothing and give you nothing. Now,
I can't imagine such a thing. I mean, I would never do that.
No, it's quite embarrassing. And the worst thing in the world is to keep the penny.
Well, that's really bad news, but I think you want to change your job there, Steve.
Well, it's a secondary job, so it's not a problem.
Right, okay.
I can leave any time, but I think the frustration might push me out sooner than I think.
Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Steve.
Take care, mate.
That is, can we have a straw poll in there? If somebody brought you steaming hot pizza at home, you'd give them £1, right, at least? Nodding doesn't work on the radio.
Yes.
Okay, so we're all right. It's just that Crawley is at fault.
Whenever I have pizza delivered here, the nice delivery man looks shocked when I give him £1.
Well, yeah, they have with me before, and I thought, well, this is news to me. I thought everybody gave money to somebody who delivered, but it's only specific deliveries, isn't it? Let's continue this in just a second. We have to pause for traffic. It's 8:15. Here's travel news with Amanda Redmond.
Looking very slow, still on the M20 go.
What are we doing?
Carol, we're doing Vincent in East London.
G'day, Mr. Abbott.
How are you?
I'm okay. I did call for another reason. Hopefully you let me have a chance to go on to that. But, you know, while I was waiting on the line, you talked about, you know, the delivery guy and, you know, the extra money that you potentially give him, Mr. Abbott. Okay?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I find that wholly offensive.
What?
Okay? Yes, I find it offensive.
Which part?
The part that a man who's already getting paid to do a job then is potentially expecting some more money for the fact he's doing his job. When I do my job, I'm a public servant, for example. I'm helping people out on a daily basis. Yeah?
What kind of public servant?
Local authority.
Local authority, yes.
I work in the local authority. I'm a public servant. I'm paid by the taxpayers or the council taxpayers. I'm doing a job. Okay.
To do what?
To do a job. You know, I don't really want to say because
sounds like a tax man.
No, but look, the point is that when I'm doing my job, day or night, because I do shift work, once I've finished with them and they offer me a cup of tea, coffee, whatever, that's fine. But, you know, I don't expect them to give me a sweetener, a tenner or a fiver for doing a good job. I've done my job. And, you know, the point is that we've got to get out in our country, our great country, Great Britain. We've got to get out this mentality that we expect more than we actually have earned. You know, he's doing a job or she's doing a job. They've been paid their wage. They're doing their job. Why are we expected then for them providing me a service which I've already paid for, exorbitant price to buy a pizza, for example? They want at least £1. I'm crying out loud. It's like begging, you know?
Right. Okay.
I'm so passionate. You know.
I know you are. Yeah. I'm not going to deliver a pizza over at your place, that's for sure. But what was it you actually called about? And I'll talk about that later.
The reason I called initially was about cuisine. You know, cuisines of the world. British cuisine, for example. We just don't put it up the flagpole. I mean, when people come to our country, when they think of our cuisine, all we hear about is fish and chips. But how ridiculous is that? If I go to Malaysia or the Caribbean, you know, they don't just give me, Kentucky Fried Chicken. They've got fantastic cuisine, just like we have. Why is it that we just never,
blow our own, cornet about, our own food, right.
But the thing about it is, Mr. Abbott, it's also a link to our history that we've been colonised in many places. So we've brought in this fantastic Asian, Indian cuisine, Caribbean, but we still have to retain a authentic Anglo-Saxon cuisine, which is underrated.
Well, you're absolutely right about that, but there has been a movement of late to reinvestigate the British way of cooking, and a lot of new restaurants have got like modern British food, much of which is cheap cuts of meat, the bits of the animal that we previously have been throwing away, like head and feet, and offal.
Yeah,
I know it is.
It's quite this. I wouldn't eat that. I'm actually talking about parsnips and cooked properly. But it's got to be. We're so used to convenience now, and
it's a market economy. You've got Iceland here. They do frozen food, cook it in the microwave, job done. Everyone's the winner. But we're not. We're actually the loser. Okay, we might be thinking we're saving in our pocket and it tastes good, but it's not natural. It's full of E numbers, and we're losing out.
Yeah.
We are losing out.
No, absolutely, yeah. We've got to get back to cooking from scratch. Isn't that right, Alex? You having just eaten something that you've microwaved downstairs and stank like a... Well...
Yeah.
I know exactly what it smelt like, but I'm not going to describe it because you've just eaten it.
Well, yeah, and the issue is, Mr. Abbott, that the crux fundamentally is that we really all have to start making a bigger effort. Because if we don't make a bigger effort, we'll become bigger. We'll become like America, fat lumps, okay? And
I think that the time for that has gone. We are fat lumps. Look around. There's not a single slim person left in this country.
Okay, fair point. But we're not like America yet. If we don't, put the old feminist barrier up higher now, we're in trouble. It's not just about heart rate and this. We are what we eat. Food is like, for me, it's like a god. Yeah, we value it. We've got to make an effort to nurture it. We're just so used to watching telly and, wasting our time eating crap.
What did you have tonight, by the way?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
I had I'm going to have roasted breadfruit, a pineapple punch with my friend Mr. Render. He's having a peanut punch. A barbecued chicken from the Caribbean. Ackee and saltfish. What else do we have? We had a coleslaw, and there's one more dish. We had callaloo. Have you heard of callaloo?
No, I haven't. But you didn't cook any of this, though, right? You just went. You had it delivered, probably.
No, I went to collect it every Thursday. I treat myself to have a takeaway, homemade, proper, like my mama used to make, Caribbean food. It's down in Dalston, and it's not like mass production. The massive queue all the time. You've got to be.
It sounds fantastic. Everything apart from the peanut punch. You can keep that.
Well, it's good protein.
Right,
So
okay.
but no, I'm maybe babbling on, and London's probably getting bored of me, but we need to start smelling the old coffee and realising that we have to start eating, fish. We've got a lovely piece of fish, yeah? Why would we want to deep fry, annihilate it, block up our artery? Why can't we just grill it or bake it in some foil?
It seems like an indecent thing to do to a mighty proud fish. Yeah, you're right.
It's a shocker. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I used to have loads of fish and chips when I was in school, but I had no choice. Turn up on a Friday, all you had was fish and chips. You had to have it. But as I've grown up, I would say, I've learned to mature my palate, and thank heavens for the culture I've lived in, because there's all these sort of different kinds of people all around me, Indian, Chinese, Malaysian, Caribbean, British, English, and I've learned to, appreciate and adore food as it should be. Not just buy all this ready-made convenience, and I see all, people on the street with their children thinking nothing about taking them to McDonald's, hearing them on the bus. We'll have some McDonald's. See, I'm not trying to prejudge their culture and their mentality.
Yeah, you are. But listen, you have to calm down, mate. I mean, you're eating well, but your stress levels are through the roof. Take a breath.
I'm passionate about
I know you are, yeah. A little bit too passionate. But anyway, I've got to move on, but thanks a lot. All right. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
So he's not going to get anybody delivering food round his way twice.
No, you should chill out and get a pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Once in a while.
He
calm
needs to
down,
chill
man.
out.
Yeah, calm down, dear.
I've got a headache listening.
It's only dinner.
To him. Does he talk like that all the time?
I hope not.
To his girlfriend, his mom, everyone around it. Does he talk? Is he like that all the time?
Maybe he has like protein overload. Too much peanut punch. That sounds revolting, by the way, doesn't it? Peanut punch.
He needs to take a meditation or yoga or something.
Yeah, I could do a couple of pints of yoga right now. But there are certain jobs that that you feel obliged to tip for with.
What jobs are they?
Well, anybody that's delivering anything to do with things that you put in your mouth.
Yeah, they get a quid, don't they? The pizzas, the deliveries.
£1 minimum, or 10% if it's more than a tenner,
yeah.
I would say. In restaurants, you don't need to think about it because they're going to add it to your bill anyway. And anyone that sits in a restaurant and the service is okay and gets up and leaves nothing, well, don't go to that restaurant again because you'll be there'll be a thin emulsion of saliva over everything you eat. Hairdressers is another thing, and all of these jobs are he's right in a way. It is an extra for doing exactly what you're paid to do, but you're expecting more for doing it. I don't get a tip for doing this.
Well,
which is shocking when you think about it.
It's only services normally where you're where you know that money is going directly to the person who's served
but you don't.
who's provided you a good service.
Yeah, but you don't. My assumption when they add 12.5%, whatever it is, to the bill, and I'm sure that they'll shortly be breaking 15%, is that it doesn't go to them. It goes directly to the owner of the restaurant, who uses that to pay the minimal wages of the person who's schlepping the food from the kitchen.
But it's your intention, though, for it to go to whatever service that is, because you feel like you've been provided with, a good service for that person.
Right.
You want to reward that individual.
But on the subject of that, I mean, it's the percentage that they put on booze. I mean, I'm not the sort who would go and buy expensive wine, but if I was the type who would spend £100, £200, £500, £1,000 on a bottle of wine, and they put 12.5% on that, which on a £1,000 bottle of wine would be £125, just to pull the cork out. That's insane. I mean, you just refuse to pay it, right? So there's some things that it seems you are obliged to pay extra for, even though it's just what they're supposed to do, and other things which you wouldn't even think twice about, like hairdressing, for instance. You pay the person who cut your hair, right, Helen?
I have and I haven't.
Right. I won't ask Alex because, really, I don't mean to be offensive, but
that's quite a tricky one, I think.
What, his hair?
Yeah.
I would ask them to use a blowtorch next time. Just leave the scissors at home.
Okay.
London's biggest conversation.
Do you like me?
Florine, is that right?
Yes, it is.
Florine.
Hi.
What kind of a name is that, by the way?
It's Romanian.
Romanian, rightio.
Yes. Sorry?
I said, okay, what's up?
Okay. I just was driving, back home from work, and I was listening to you guys, talking about football.
Yeah.
About, defeat against the Croatia and all those problems. And I was, wondering which, I think, from my opinion, what is the main problem is, I think England invests so much money in foreigners players. So if you look at the Arsenal or Chelsea, the strong teams, Man United, where, let's say they've got great teams, in Europe. So the best football we can see, Premier League.
Yeah.
You see, Chelsea, Arsenal.
Right, there's precious few actual English faces on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you look at the players, all of them, most of them, Brazilians, I don't know, Spain, Italy, like, there are not so many, English.
Yeah.
And I think, to invest, those money is better to invest in the English, players. And I'm sure, with this strong Premier League, you can have strong players as well.
Well, maybe, but I don't think EU rules would allow us to have quotas for English players. I mean, I think that would be unacceptable to whatever law pertains to that. But on the other hand, to have all of this great foreign talent coming in, doesn't that give our homegrown players the impetus to compete more with them? It gives them access to different methods of playing. It's actually an education, no?
I don't know. It's just when you put them, all together, bring them, from all those teams, basically, they cannot stick together, being a team. I don't know. It's I think everyone is just, how should I say, investing those money when
right, we should be putting more. We should. You're after a quota for English players in each Premiership team. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you see, you're not going to see the results in 1-2 years,
No.
but for sure, you're going to see the results after I don't know, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
If you look at other teams like Croatia, let's say Romania, my team, if I see my national team, no one is playing in Romania. I mean, like 1 or 2.
Right.
And they're already qualified. Why? Because all of them, they're playing abroad, like strong, teams.
Well,
in another country.
you've just disagreed with yourself. You just you said that the Romanian team. No, I don't know if this is true one way or the other, but they're not playing in Romania. The cream of Romanian players are playing abroad. Right. Well,
there's no money.
Right.
The money which they invest, they should invest in the English players.
Yeah, I get it, but then why was Romania so successful if they don't play against each other either?
Because they play in the stronger Premier League or
But there wasn't a single English face on the pitch there that doesn't play for a great team.
They're all right. Before you can see, that Beckham, they played for Real Madrid, Man United.
Yeah.
Before, and then Lampard, John Terry, there's lots of English players. They play for the strong team.
Yes.
But
you seem to be saying like 5 or at least 3 different things all at the same time. But yeah, I will beg to disagree with some of them and say you're absolutely right on others, whatever it was. All right.
No.
Thanks a lot, Florine. I've got to go. Cheers,
all right.
mate.
Yeah, no problem. Bye.
Am I right there, Alex? I wasn't entirely...
I don't know, he lost me.
Yeah. He said... Well, this is an argument that's been made before. We should have more English players in the Premiership, because that's one of the reasons why we're not doing very successful, is because they're all foreigners. They come over here, they kick our balls. Well, maybe, but you'd have to say that all of the English players on the... I mean, they're not playing for First Division teams, are they? Or Second Division teams. They're not playing for... I can't think of one right now, but they're not playing for Chelmsford, are they? They're all great teams that these people are playing for. So it's not as though we have a lack of ability to choose from. So it's something else. It's a mindset, or I don't know what it is. What could it possibly be? It's not down to the manager. If it were, then Sven would be hopeless at Manchester City. But he seems to be doing particularly well.
Do you think it's that they're all just too good, almost?
No, that can't be it.
I know it
what
sounds,
the hell are you talking
it sounds
about?
Stupid. It's like if you put 12 really big movie stars in one film, they'd all kind of clash with each other.
Like Ocean's 11, you mean?
Yeah.
And it turns out to be rubbish. Well, that's an interesting point. Huh. No, that can't be it. Here's Chelmsford. Hello, Flash.
Hiya. How you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I just want to remind people that when they break down on the motorway, don't cross the motorway to use the emergency phone on the other side. There's always one on your side, opposite the one that you can see on the other side of the road. I've just had somebody walk across in front of me on the M25 on the M11 slip road because he was trying to get to the mobile phone. I saw the car broken down, and I was looking for him, and I saw the phone on the hard shoulder on our side. I thought, well, where is he? And then suddenly I realised he's walking in the middle of the carriageway with his walking stick across the road to get to the phone the other side.
With a walking stick?
Yeah, with a walking stick. In dark clothes. I mean,
right.
Like, he's just asking to be, well, what do you say, jammed on the road, you know?
Bounced off your bonnet. Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, he wouldn't be bounced off my bonnet. He'd be underneath the trailer on the back of the Arctic with all the Royal Mail on the back.
Oh, so that's where it is.
Yeah.
Got any discs back there, have you, by any chance?
No, because that was the one that carries the explosives in their name, the old TNT lot.
Right, okay.
So, no, that wasn't down to consignia or whatever we call ourselves, Royal Mail Parcel Force, you know.
Right, neither was it TNT's fault, but anyway. Good advice there, Flash. All right, thanks for that. Don't go strolling about the motorway, especially if you can't walk very fast. Stick to the hard shoulder. Or stick to an A road. Go, if you want to stroll around the road, stick to an A road. Not M roads. That's just silly. I always like to give good advice on this programme, and that's the best I can do. Or a B road. A B road would be good if you want to wander around the road in dark clothing with a walking stick.
You just stick to the pavement.
Oh, the pavement, yeah, that's a good idea. Hampstead. Hello, George.
Hello, Nick.
George.
Can we talk revolution? I want you to join the Rainbow Revolution. Do you know anything about it?
The Rainbow Revolution. No, what's that?
No, the brand spanking new London Party. I have prophesied on Clive's programme that the brand spanking new London Party is going to be victorious at the mayoral elections.
Oh, yeah. Who's the candidate?
Well, I'm trying to get Russell Brand to stand, but he seems a bit reluctant at the moment. But
right.
There are sort of petitions and things going on, and I'm sort
Are you
of
serious about that, by the way?
Sorry?
Are you serious about that, by the way? He doesn't seem to be that... Nothing he does seems to be that popular, apart from him talking about sex in the press.
Oh, no, I think he is popular, and he has...
Well, his TV shows don't get ratings, his radio show hasn't got ratings. Name me one thing that he's done that has been a hit, apart from talking about having sex with a lot of people in the press.
Well, I think his book will probably be a hit.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Did he write it?
Sorry?
Did he actually write it?
I think he spoke it into about 15 hours of tape and
somebody else actually, right, okay.
I think. But will you join the Rainbow Revolution?
Well, what do you stand for?
London to become a self-governing city. I was speaking to Ken Livingstone a few years ago on radio, and he said to me that he thought that if the people of London were given the opportunity to vote to become their own country, they probably would. So I would like to see if Ken Livingstone is right. I would like to see the people of London being given the chance to...
Right, but I've seen this in a black and white film. It's called Passport to Pimlico.
No, I just personally believe that the future is a future in which countries will cease to exist, and the world will become intercity rather than international.
Right. Well, if London were chopped off, then I think we'd be in the top 10 in the top 10 richest entities. If you want to not count countries.
Well, I don't know how they calculate all of that.
No,
I mean, there is a very educational thing on the internet. It's called Money is Debt, and it really shows what a con the whole money system and banking system is.
Yeah, well, I was ruminating about this yesterday, and it does seem to be built. The entire British economy seems to be a house of cards. I mean, apart from everything being based on debt, both personally and micro and macro, the government's stewardship of the economy is all smoke and mirrors. It's all based on them borrowing ever more gigantic amounts,
which can never be paid back.
well, yeah, we can only just about keep up with the interest payments.
No,
Well, what else do you stand for?
London to be transformed into a model 21st century city.
That's very vague, George. What are you going to do about cars?
First of all, we're going to introduce a new currency, Nick.
Never mind about that. What about the car? What about roads? What is your policy about roads?
I personally don't have a policy about roads. I mean, we need to get together and collectively imagine what a model 21st century city would look like and how it would operate.
This is very wishy-washy, George.
It's not wishy-washy. It's not wishy-washy at all.
Sounds like tree-hugging hippie speak.
No, but you like the new currency. It's going to be an electronic currency called the Wonder. We're establishing the bank of a zillion wonders.
Right. So how much would like a penny chew be?
Well, a wonder would be the equivalent of £1.
Okay, so what would be the what would you break a wonder down into? 100 watts would be a wonder.
Gasps.
100 gasps.
And even though you may be down to your last gasp. Wonders will never cease.
See, now, like I said, I take it back. You have thought about this.
Of course I've thought.
You get my vote. Thanks a lot, George. Cheers, mate. Ta-ra. It's 8:45.
There are delays on the Victoria.
I don't know.
Look at problems at the moment. Hello, I'm here.
Redmond.
Sorry about that. Let's have a look at big problems at the moment on the trains. One railway...
Okie
dokie.
That's what I thought. It's E.
Elizabeth Smith from Cheddar. Good evening, Nick.
Hey, Elizabeth.
How are you?
I'm all right, my dear. When was the last time you had a donut?
I had a donut for 20 years.
20 years, yeah. Well, do yourself a favour and don't break your stretch, because I had one this afternoon. It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever eaten in my life, and I ate all of it.
How many stone are you now, Nick? All these cakes.
About 11 and a half or something like that.
That's all right. How tall are you?
11, something like that. I'm 3'6".
You just say that for me, didn't you? 4. But I'm 5'4", my proper height.
Your proper height?
Yeah, 5'4".
5'4", right,
Yeah.
and you weigh...
9.5 stone.
No, because you are Champion Slimmer of the Year for
Yeah.
like the 20th year in a row. Right, so
I've
you
got
don't
to
eat...
do for next year as well.
Yeah, okay.
Next year again, every 20 years' time.
Yeah, and you'll be as thin as a sheet of paper.
Yeah. I was hearing earlier on your show, 'cause I picked your show up from Sky Internet,
Oh, yeah.
and he was talking about hairdressing.
Yes.
My sister's qualified hairdresser.
Does she get tipped much?
Yes, she do. And guess how old my baby sister is?
6.
No, she's 18.
Yeah, like I said.
And she's passed her test. She got a little car.
What? She passed her car test, you mean?
Yeah, she passed it when
Right.
she was 17.
Do you know how long it takes to become a hairdresser, to actually pass all the tests that it...
It took her 3 years.
Yeah, it's something like that, 3 years.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary. You could learn to be a surgeon in about the same amount of time.
That's right, yeah. She was going to be a doctor or a nurse, but she,
The hairdressing called her.
yeah.
Yeah, well, that's understandable.
I guess her name's Sheila
That's where
Phyllis
the money
Smith.
is. Huh?
And she wanted to be a hairdresser.
Right.
But at the moment, she's working in a motorway calf at the moment.
Yeah.
Part-time.
For practice.
Yeah.
Hairdresser's hair is usually the worst of anybody that you'll see that day, am I right?
No, my sister's a very good hairdresser.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying about the hair that they do, the hair that has been done to them. A hairdresser's
know, yeah, you ought to
own
see it on
personal
television, yeah.
do is usually shockingly bad. It wasn't a bad example, an advertisement for their skills. A hairdresser's
right,
hair is.
We're going to say, but I do my own hair now.
Do
My
you?
sister hurts.
Is that wise?
She proves me, she hurts me.
So you, right, okay, so, is a customer who has, let me see if I can get this right, is a hairdresser who has herself, oh, blimey, what is it with the lawyer?
She's a marble hairdresser, Nick.
She's a what?
A marble hairdresser.
A what?
A marble hairdresser. Marble.
Marble?
No, she drives the car, she's a marble.
Mobile!
Mobile. I was getting you on there, Nick. I was when you were like, I wanted you to tell me what I meant.
You're off your head, Elizabeth. Anyway, times are marching onwards.
Look, I was interested in what George was saying.
Yeah, whatever it
about
was.
banks and that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because going back in 1991,
Yeah.
when I only had £45 in my bank, somebody made a mistake and put 82,000 in, so I get it all back as in the same name, Lizzie Mary. So my mum and dad went to the bank, and I went there, and I get it all back, and that's why I got on and lost weight, because I was honest, and somebody made a mistake and put money in my bank by mistake.
Right.
And that's why I was honest, get it back, and that's why I got famous. And that's why I'm talking to you now, and that's why I'm inclined to walking in the same line.
It was all the fault of a banking error. Huh,
That's
can you
right,
believe
Nick,
that?
yeah.
Okay, well listen, thanks a lot, Elizabeth. I've got to go. All right, cheers, my dear. It's 0845 6060 973. Now this show is finally beginning to make sense, isn't it? But I'm right about that, that hairdressers do have the worst hair of anybody that you'll see that day.
My hairdresser used to have a baldy on the top, but kind of lots of hair around here. It was bloke.
Bald on top and hairy on, like his head was on upside down.
Yeah, kind of hair at the back and the sides, and but very unkempt.
So what was I trying to say? That a client who does his own hair has a fool for, but then you have to use the word client again. It's the lawyer thing. If you represent yourself in court, then you're a dope. But it's a more elegant way of saying it. You've got no idea what I'm talking about.
I don't actually know what you're talking about.
Right. Well,
to even correct you.
I'll communicate by telepathy.
Okay, hang on.
With the vast listening audience. They know what I'm talking about.
Do they?
You, unfortunately, still in the dark.
Listen again.
And all of a sudden we're back. Bracknell. Oh, Jethro.
Yeah, hi.
How you going?
All right, a bit icky, actually.
Icky?
Yeah.
Have you had a donut lately?
No, I haven't wanted a donut. I've got lardy cake in the kitchen. It's lovely.
Lardy cake?
Yeah, lardy cake. Fantastic.
That sounds horrible. What's that?
It's a cake. Never had lardy cake. I can't believe that. It's a cake with currants and sultanas in it. It's very doughy, and it's absolutely full of
lard.
Lard, yeah.
That sounds horrible.
Sugar. And it's totally wrong for you if you want to eat a sensible diet, but I love it, it's great.
Well, I made the mistake, because there was a whole tray of donuts, and I thought, ooh, so yummy. But it was horrible. It tasted like it was fried in the fat that they'd sucked out of Anne Robinson. It was awful. And it's repeating on me, constantly. And it tastes a lot worse coming back out than it did going in, I tell you.
That doesn't sound too nice. What filling did it have in it?
Well, it had no filling. It was just...
Oh, plain donut.
Yeah, it was just fat with a luminous white covering, which may or may not have been made of sugar. I've really got no idea. It could have been paint. And some like rainbow sprinkles on top of colours that aren't found in nature.
Oh, right.
Vile.
Did you have
but at least it was free.
It was free?
Yeah.
Meaning what, someone else bought it?
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
What's the matter with you? What's up with you?
Coldy flu type.
Oh, right.
Yeah, horrible, but there we go. I thought I'd try and...
Have you been travelling on public transport lately?
Try to avoid it.
But did you?
No, I don't think so.
Well, where did you get the cold from?
I don't know.
Every time I travel on public transport, somebody sneezes somewhere in the cabin, and he's got a little cough.
Yeah.
and I catch a cold almost straight away.
Yeah.
Happens every time.
Because you probably don't eat properly. Your resistance, your whatever it is, your antibodies and your resistance capacity is probably too low.
Right. No, I do eat properly.
Do you?
I do everything correctly, and yet I'm still the illest person I know.
I think you're just saying that to get the sympathy vote from all the women.
Who, me?
Yeah, they love to phone in and mother you, don't they?
Some do, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good way of trying to get them engaged with you, but it's a risky option to go, because sometimes they want to be grown-up, fully-fledged men. And
sometimes they actually show up at the radio station in a wedding dress, yeah. That actually happened once. At the radio station I used to work at, somebody actually did that.
Well, had she consulted you?
Oh, not to me. No, it was another DJ. Hey, DJ. Oh. Yeah, it was another on-air personality in inverted commas.
Right.
Somebody showed up at the radio station in a wedding dress. Had to get carted off by the police.
Oh, but there hadn't been any kind of period of relationship development or anything. It just like she decided she was going to marry that guy.
Well, I think that there had been incidents previously, but she ratcheted it up. She went one louder.
Right. Not the best way to get married, I'd say, if you want a long-term relationship on a stable foundation.
No. Can I just interrupt you there for a second, Jethro?
Yeah, sure.
Helen is trying to pick a font to write instructions at me.
Right.
Pick Verdana. It's the very latest thing.
That's because I was having a conversation about fonts.
Arial is so over.
Is Arial Times New Roman? Is it?
That's
so
just
over.
That's been over for 100 years.
What, that one?
Verdana, yeah.
Okay, let's have a
I
look
think
at
you'll
that.
find it to be mostly groovy.
You still there?
Yeah, I am.
It sounded like you'd exploded or something.
No, we're just
Oh,
choosing
I see.
fonts. See?
Right.
Isn't that great?
Let's hang on.
We're
Because I
doing-
thought it was Arial.
No, Verdana. It's at the top now. Now you've chosen it, it'll be at the top.
Is it?
Go up. There he is. Oh. See? Now doesn't that look fast forward and futuristic?
at the G, though.
Without shouting at you.
Look
Yeah,
at that,
it's
G.
groovy. See? Yowza. Anyway, Jethro.
Yeah, I was just wondering yesterday, because when we kind of like signed off yesterday, or I signed off, you said something really strange to me, and I thought about it afterwards, because you said to me, I was exhibiting classic signs of psychopaths, and I thought, what are you going about psychopaths for?
With what?
Oh God, you must remember the show. Like you said, I was telling you about my emotional and intellectual development vis-a-vis the other half of humanity, and you said I was exhibiting all the classical signs of a psychopath.
Right.
You don't remember what you say half the time, do
I
you?
never listened to this show. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I think you suggested I think it was a comedic, reasons that slightly deranged, but I wasn't sure if you meant psychopath or psychopath.
Right.
So I wasn't sure whether I should go and see my doctor or get on my mountain bike and ride somewhere.
Yeah, the latter.
All right. Okay.
So how are you feeling?
Gossy, but I want to talk. You said you can talk about anything.
Yes.
Anything. I want to talk about Leaving Las Vegas. You know the film Leaving Las Vegas?
I'm certain I've seen it, but I can't remember how it goes.
There's Nick Cage in it.
Right.
And for some reason, I don't know why it is, perhaps he hasn't been fulfilled the American dream or something, so it links it into Thanksgiving. You know, he hasn't actually been highly successful and wonderful and made lots and lots of money.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
Well, I know, but his character in the film.
Oh, I see.
You've got to this is a shift of the imagination. Not talking about Nick Cage, the actor.
Right.
His adoptive role within the film.
Okay.
And for some reason, he decides to go to Las Vegas. He looks perfectly healthy and okay. He decides to go to Las Vegas and drink himself to death.
Right.
Which I think is relevant nowadays because we've got.
Well, it's a good place to do it. Drinks are cheap there.
Are they? Oh, right. Well, but we've got pop stars that want, are in a self-destructive path, and you sort of think, why? They've made loads and loads of money. They're famous. They're rich, and why do they want to go destroy themselves?
I think that each of us has a little man in the back of our brains that is self-destructive, and sometimes they shout louder than others. For instance, have you ever walked across a bridge and almost had to stop yourself from jumping off? Not really physically, but had the urge to leap off, and you almost have to consciously think, no, don't do it.
That's the Oxford Dangerous Sports Society, isn't it? With bungee jumping.
I can't be the only... I know for a fact that I'm not the only person who thinks that. You don't actually lunge over the side and have to drag yourself back, but you do get a flash, oh, I'm going to jump, oh, no, I'm not. Don't you ever get that?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Right.
It's cold water Thames this time of year, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
You can't guarantee the police... PCOs, look, PCSOs up in Lancashire, they've refused to jump into a 12-foot pond, and I don't think PCSOs in London are going to jump into...
to the Thames to fish a DJ out. No.
They might get the kudos of the publicity afterwards for having not done it, but I don't see a lot of... There's not a lot of sacrificial policemen now.
No, quite right. Anyway, thanks a lot, Jethro. Go take a pill. All right, you jump into the Thames and you'd never do the breaststroke again.
On night, Nick Abbott.
Some nobody.
A BT customer who suffered a 6-month nightmare of automated voice messages and call centres to try to settle a phone bill has now resolved the matter after posting a complaint on the internet. Did you hear about this bloke? No. It was more or less the problem was he spoke to BT's automated message system, pressed various numbers to move on to the next level of electronic time wasting, and found on the rare occasion he did encounter a human voice that he was in a call centre in India and they couldn't help. It was something about the BT adding an extra 90 quid to his £103 bill. It's stated that due to a systems error he hadn't been charged for some calls that he made. And he disputed the fact that he'd made these calls, and so he tried to get to the bottom of it. And 6 months later, he still hadn't managed it, having racked up £200 on calls and postage. Never mind about the time that it took, hanging on the line. Press 1 if you'd like to be dealt with, in 6 months. So, he went to, and I've been in this position. In fact, I'm in this position right now because my internet service provider, those dopes, get my bill wrong every single month. I threatened to leave them, and they said, well, we'll halve your bill. And I thought, oh, wow, that's a pretty good deal. OK, I won't go. And so they kept me as a customer, and they did halve my bill the next time. No, in fact, they didn't. And so I had to call them up, and they said, oh, well, pay the full bill this time, and we'll deduct it on the next one. And they didn't. So I had to call them up, and they said, well, if you pay it this time, we'll definitely deduct it on the next time. And they didn't. So I called them up, and this is like already 4 months gone. And eventually they did, and I got, like a big credit on my account. And now, their excuse is for getting my bill wrong every month. They forget, in inverted commas, to chop my bill in half. They say that there is no way that we can automatically do this because the person who promised it to you has to do it by hand every time your bill is generated. So they're saying, have to remember, of all the millions of customers they've got, that Nick Abbott's bill has to be chopped in half. So they have to go into the computer and type in the correct amount before it gets sent to me. I mean, come off it. How stupid do you think I am to believe that? They get it wrong every month, assuming, I expect, that I will eventually give up and just pay it. Now, they could take it automatically. I've tried... It must be getting on for 20 times to set up a direct debit with this company. It never sticks. Ever. And so they send me rude reminders. Here, you owe us for the last 3 months. Right, okay, here are my bank details. Again. Try and take it out. And they never do it. Ever.
Can't you threaten to leave again?
Well...
Or you just given up?
Well, I do... every month, call them up and say, hey, remember me? Hey. And it's always the same. Well, we can't do anything about the bill now because it's been sent, so you'll have to pay us twice what you owe us, and then next month we'll give it you back. What kind of a business is that? That's absolutely staggering, isn't it? But if they do discount my bill by half, it is actually a very good deal, which means that I don't want to go, and it is actually worth my while calling them up and complaining about it, because it is only once a month. But it's just very irritating.
Is that what you're holding on for?
What?
Can you not get out of the contract and go with somebody else?
Oh, I can, yeah, but it would cost me a lot more, because at half the rate, it's actually a really good deal now, assuming that I actually get that deal, but I have to call up and get that deal every month. Very annoying.
So you're just locked in that pattern?
Yeah.
Now,
greed.
basically.
Again, it's greed. All about greed. Well, not really. I just wanted to pay a decent amount for a shoddy service. That's not unreasonable, is it? But this guy, he actually put his complaint on YouTube. And only at that point did, BT say, sorry about that. He got an apology from an assistant to Sir Christopher Bland, the company chairman, and a £90 refund. So he's still 110 quid out, because he spent £200 on trying to get the refund. But only at the point that he put it on YouTube did they say, sorry about that. Well, I'm kind of surprised. I mean, why would they? Who on YouTube is going to stop looking at people falling off their skateboards and look at a bloke complaining about BT?
Well, probably lots of people. Did you hear about everyone's tuning in on the YouTube to, actually I don't think it's YouTube, but on the internet to a load of chickens?
I did read that, yeah.
I mean, I had a look at it today, and people are tuning in to, I think there's about 5 of them.
But what are they doing?
Well, it was night time, so I had to go infrared. And it's a webcam, so it's not in real time. So you know the quality of a webcam.
Right, nighttime is the right time for...
Nighttime's the right time, on a
making
webcam.
chickens, yeah.
5 chickens in a shed.
Right.
They're just all kind of pecking around, really.
Right, having a little peck, yes.
But I watched that for a few minutes. But that's the thing to be watching this week.
Jamie Oliver is going to unzip the chicken business for us.
Yeah, and there's a couple of other chefs, I think.
Yeah, they're actually going to do some good rather than just pranny about and show us their.
Well, Jamie Oliver did good on the school dinners, didn't
Saint Jamie, yes.
Yeah.
It's about time he was ennobled in some way.
He is an English or British treasure.
He seems to be an all-round good egg.
Yeah, he did brilliantly with the school dinners.
Yes, and got a load of grief for it, for making an effort. Yeah, it's absolutely shocking that that's what we were giving our kids to eat.
Well, he was effectively doing politicians' jobs for them.
Correct.
Wasn't he? You know.
Yes.
So
well, the politicians would rather that we didn't know all of that. They would rather get away with giving us as shoddy and cheaper service as they possibly can, and giving us the impression that they're actually doing a great job, which is what government targets are all about. On the subject of Heathrow, by the way, I read in one of the newspapers today, it was a newspaper that was unfriendly to the government, but they were saying that as a smokescreen to hide the fact that they had already made their minds up that the extra runway was going to go at Heathrow, they said, well, we're thinking of putting it in Stansted. And so people would stop complaining about Heathrow and start campaigning to save Stansted. But they had, this paper said, no intention of putting an extra runway in at Stansted, which I think is currently running at about 50% of potential. Heathrow, on the other hand, is running at sort of like 99% of its potential volume. So, in order to surreptitiously greased the wheels of the Heathrow expansion. It's almost like a magician. They, with one hand, were waving and gaining our attention by saying that it was going to be in Stansted, so that the people would concentrate their efforts on keeping Stansted as is. And on the other hand, they were giving the big OK to Heathrow. How devious is that? Mendacious. Mendacity.
And I read they're thinking of a 6th terminal. Or did I dream that?
No, that's true.
I had the oddest dream last night. I was hanging out with Madonna and Prince... who's the eldest son?
William?
Yeah. Madonna and Prince William. We were we were going shopping. It was so bizarre. It just seemed to go on and on and on. Yeah. I can't tell you what we got.
What did you get?
I can't tell you.
Why, you can't remember?
I can't remember, yeah. If I could remember, I would tell you, but I can't, so I won't. Wallington. Hello, Joan.
Hello.
Joan.
I want to talk about these electricity cuts.
Oh, yeah, we had a nice lady on earlier on who was moaning about... I mean, she was telling us about the...
yeah, down at Putney.
In Putney, yeah.
Now, you know, for a while I thought, all right, it's a one-off, and this is going back now, it must be 2 years. You know, the odd strike, and they seem to have a good excuse, not strike, blackout.
Yeah.
And they seem to have a good excuse. And then the next time it happened, I thought, well, that doesn't sound like a very good excuse. And now it's happening regularly all over London. If it's not one part of London, it's the other part of London. It's every week.
Really? I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
I mean, I've been hearing about it on LBC. People call in and they say, yes, we got a blackout here, and oh, yes, it lasted a few hours. No, they said they were fixing something, and it sort of cut through a wire. And then another time they said, well, it was the weather. But we haven't had extremes of weather.
We never have extremes of weather in this country. The slightest gust will bring the country to a halt.
But there's something not right about the system that it keeps having these...
well, our infrastructure seems to be falling apart.
Yeah, and I think it's only one firm, isn't it, that's doing this?
I don't know.
Well, I think the last one they mentioned, not the Putney, I don't think that lady said which one it was.
Well, the infrastructure is the same no matter what firm you get it from, and I don't really understand the concept of that. Changing your electricity supplier, it still comes through the same wires. I don't really get that.
Well...
it's like post, and I don't really get them opening up the post either. I mean, you put your post in the post box, so it's picked up by the post office, and then it's delivered by the post office. So which part is TNT doing? I don't really get that.
I don't.
They're delivering it from one post office to the other, but then the picking up and the delivering part is actually by the post office. I mean, all these other delivery companies, they don't have their own delivery people wandering the streets, do they?
No, but it's not really a sort of national thing anymore. It has been broken down, hasn't it, into private.
Yes, but those private companies, they don't pick the post up from the post box, do they?
Oh.
Right. I mean, I understand...
As far as I know, because it all goes off in that red van, doesn't it?
Yeah, the post office van. And it's being stuck up your letterbox by the post office man, who drops the rubber band that kept them all together on the pavement outside your door. That's what those rubber bands are, by the way. Every time you walk... and try this, walk around the streets. They're covered with rubber bands. It's all the post office.
I haven't noticed it lately, though. I used to notice it all the time.
Yeah.
And I used to think, oh, these are useful. I'll pick these up.
Yeah, right.
I don't think they ever were.
Yeah, they're still in your drawer, right?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I am worried about this, because if this system of our power is failing...
yeah.
This could fail in a big way, not just these little R here, R there.
No, you're right. Yeah, it could fail when something good's on TV.
Shouldn't somebody actually be looking into this?
Well, you'd
Someone
think.
in the government, maybe?
No, they're busy at the moment, trying to cover their own bottoms. Anyway, Joan, you're absolutely right. Whatever it is that you're concerned about, our infrastructure
you're happy about that,
is falling apart.
That's it.
Yeah. Thanks, Joan.
Thank you, bye.
Cheers, Minute. Ta-da. 9:16. Travel now with Amanda Redmond.
We're looking...
Nick Abbott.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
It's all I've got. Martin.
Good evening, Nick.
In
Happy Thanksgiving.
Leighton Buzzard. Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Yes.
gobble gobble.
And to you too.
Yeah. Just mentioned the elastic bands, rubber bands.
Yeah.
Right, the post office they have biodegradable rubber bands now.
Oh, yeah.
Because what was happening, the little Tweety birds are coming down thinking, oh, there's a nice juicy worm, and picking this thing up and dying. So now...
But they don't biodegrade that quickly. I'm sure it'll still...
I think it's about 2 weeks.
Right, which is long enough to strangle your parrot.
Yes. Well, each to his own. But, you know, that's what I understand now, is that's why you don't see a lot of them now, because, you know, they dissolve into the ether.
No, they don't. That's not why you don't... Oh, rubbish. They don't dissolve that quickly, surely.
I think it's about 2 weeks.
Nonsense. They'd be useless as rubber bands.
Well, they're doing it. Ask me how.
All right, I think the note went round, because they just used to drop them on the floor all the time. And you're right, I haven't actually seen that many of them lately. And I think at one point, somebody like me made the point, and everybody thought, oh yeah, that's right, there's rubber bands all over the place, because we'd seen them, but we hadn't actually brought it to the forefront of our tiny little minds. And I think that someone at the post office got their bottom kicked, and a note went round. They probably sent it to DHL.
Yes.
But, yeah.
I was trying to think of a punchline, but I can't think of one.
No. All right, never mind. Just leave it hanging. Thanks, Martin.
All right.
Cheers.
Take care.
Yeah, but, no, you're right. They seem to have gone, but they don't dissolve in 2 weeks. That would make them useless as rubber bands. And rubber doesn't, dissolve, does it?
No, only in certain chemicals.
Yeah, acid.
And fluids.
Fluids.
Yes.
It's just the way you said that. It made it sound unseemly.
Thank you.
It's a gift. Streatham. Igor.
Hey, man.
How you going?
Yeah. You know this new jingle you got, Bumble Boogie?
Yeah.
It's not the old one, which was Boogie Woogie. It's a new one.
Right.
I used to have that when I was a kid on a 78.
Oh, yeah.
But I can't remember who was the artist.
Right.
Can you tell me?
Oh, you mean you've had the very same... This one?
Yeah.
At, Librace himself, Liberace.
No, really? That's
not...
just like the other one I had.
Yeah.
But it wasn't him.
So's this. Well, other people can record it, you know.
No, but it sounds like the same arrangement.
Right.
No, but there's a better one. I don't know if you're interested.
Well,
it's much better.
Well, yeah, it's not such a stretch to get a better piano player than Liberace.
No, the actual version is really dynamic and beautiful arrangement. But
okay.
It's by B. Bumble and the Stingers.
Now that rings a bell. B. Bumble.
Yeah, they did Nut Rocker.
Oh, yeah.
And they got their name from doing Bumble Boogie. And they were like the best musicians of that time.
B. Bumble and the Stingers, Nut Rocker, yeah.
It's on Amazon, but I didn't want to fork out any money to buy it.
No, quite right, too.
Listen, you're getting too nice to all your callers. You used to be, like...
Evil and nasty, yeah.
Yeah. How comes?
Well, evil and nasty, only flies if you want a teenage audience in this country. Evil and nasty flies across all age demographics in America because they're used to that sort of thing. Here... the audience is used to being coddled and stroked.
Have you ever been on swearing radio?
Swearing radio?
Yeah.
Which would that be?
Like, without censorship.
Well, yes, I suppose I was. I didn't do the swearing, but the callers certainly did. When I used to work at Radio Luxembourg, it was a contest to see if I could cut teenagers calling internationally just to swear on medium wave. And after a while they got the hang of getting around my radar, because you know, if somebody calls in and starts shouting at you straight away, then your hand's on the fader. But if they say, "Oh, hi Nick, great show, and by the way, bleep," then you get caught out sometimes, lulled into a false sense of security. You are. So yes, it was rude, and we didn't have a delay, but it was for teenage. It's teenage time. All right.
There's another song you play that sometimes by Frank Ifield that starts with swearing.
Frank Ifield.
Yeah.
I don't play any song that I know by Frank Ifield.
Yeah, it's that one that goes.
Well. Maybe I did the right thing, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. I'll just assume yes, and move on. Here is the West Midlands. Marion.
Hello, Nick. You all right?
Yes, good, thanks.
Was this donut you ate, was it a jam donut or a ring donut?
No, if only it had been a jam donut, the jam would have disguised the taste of the hideous goo that was the majority of what I ate. It was actually really properly vile. It was airy lard. I can't even begin to describe the stupidity of me, because I should have said no just on sight, but then I went and ate the whole thing. And I can't get rid of the taste.
Try a glass of red wine or something like that.
Oh, if only, Marion.
Yes.
I'll do that the moment I get in.
I tell you, the worst donuts I've ever had were from the...
Don't tell us.
The best-known fast food burger chain.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the donut topped with chocolate, and it just tastes of fat. And
Well,
it's
yeah.
absolutely disgusting.
Having just eaten one, I really don't understand the whole... I don't understand donuts. They're horrible.
No.
But if it had jam in it, then yes. But then you'd just be tasting the jam.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're safe with that one,
Right.
I think.
Okay, well, I'll know next time.
You will, won't you? Yeah.
All right, thanks, Marion.
All right, thanks, Nick.
There'll never be a next time. And I don't care how nice they look. And I don't care if they're free, or if there's 10 or 100 of them.
There will be, because you'll forget. You'll have forgotten how disgusting this one was,
Yeah.
and you'll think,
Well, I think
they're
that...
shiny.
Well, you know, America seems to be obsessed with donuts, and we have donut outlets here. We have shops that only do donuts, so they must be popular with somebody. Otherwise, they would have folded up and gone the way of all things a long time ago. So some people like them. I can't for the life of me think why. Oh, you know what? There is a place, a famous sandwich outlet. And if I'm hungry and short and, you know, you don't want to have a full sit-down meal, I'll always go to this one sandwich outlet more than any others. They revolutionised lunch in London, and they deserve all the success that they've had. Because previously, you used to go and buy a sandwich, and it was made from ingredients that sat in a bucket with a crust over them, where the air had got at the egg mayonnaise or the tuna surprise, whatever it might be, and they'd been sitting there for days, and they'd have to break the crust with an ice axe in some cases just to get at the sweet meat below. But this company, they came along, two blokes that used to work in the city, and they revolutionised sandwiches in this town. God bless you, sirs. They make a nice donut. It's there's almost nothing to it. Airy it is, and appears not to have ever seen fat. Ooh, so yummy. Let's have Dartford. Oh, Betty.
Oh, hello. I tip.
Pardon?
I tip people.
Oh, you tip people?
Yeah.
Who?
Well, Tuesday, I had to have a new gas meter. Well, being disabled and housebound, I couldn't bend. It's in the pantry. I couldn't move the vegetable wrap or anything.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the man was like who was coming.
No.
I get a bit scared.
Yeah.
So at any rate, it was very, very nice, because we had to turn all the gas off, or he did.
Yeah.
And I was frightened he wouldn't put my boiler back on. I only have it for hot water.
Mm.
And he was really lovely.
But
and
you tipped him?
He took the old one out and he said, I'll take this straight out to my van. It's filthy dirty. I don't want to put it on your carpet.
Right.
And I've got this new gas meter in there now.
Yeah.
And so when he went, I gave him £10, and I said, have a drink on me, and thank you for all you've done. He put all the fires on and everything.
Right.
And he said, that's much too much. I said, no, I appreciate it. He was really nice.
Huh.
But I always tip people who do things who come. I know I'm a pensioner, but I can't do anything myself.
If I'd, I would have refused it. I wouldn't have wanted to upset you.
He did say he wouldn't take it, but
Right.
I made him.
Oh, right. Well, that's,
Because I thought he was nice and kind.
well, there you go. What comes around goes around, eh?
Yes.
Right. Well, that's a lovely story. Thanks, Betty.
Yeah.
Cheers, my dear.
Yeah. Have
Ta-ra.
a nice weekend.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
I would never do that. Like somebody who delivers you food, yes. There seems to be something strange about that. You have to tip people. Perhaps it is because you want them on your side if they ever deliver food to you again. Because if somebody spits on your boiler, no big deal, right? If somebody spits on your pizza, well, you'd rather not know. And you would want to avoid that at all costs.
And you just feel grateful that someone's brought you food, I think, as well. And you haven't had to make an
But if
effort.
somebody brings you heat, that's even potentially more important. But I wouldn't tip them, but then I'm not as nice as Betty.
LBC. Nick Abbott.
Everything is going extremely well.
I'll say New Haw. Henry.
Well, hello there, Nick.
Where's New Haw?
Well, it's just inside the M25.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of near Weybridge.
Right.
Anyway, what I was going to say was, you often talk about you go to visit art galleries.
Yeah.
You have an interest in art, I assume.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but do you do any art yourself? Do you practice any art? Or,
no, I am artless.
Oh, dear. Have you ever tried?
I just don't think I've got it in me. I think that some people are good visually, with have visual skill, and some people are good with words. And as comical as it might sound, the only thing that I'm halfway decent at is words.
Yeah. Well, oh dear. Because I've just started to have a go, and it's so satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine. No, I'd love to be able to paint or draw, but I just, there's no ability there at all, so I might as well just stop before I start. I'd rather do a crossword, because that's gonna, that would help me, pull words from the air.
How do you know you're no good at it, then?
Well,
Who told you that?
Well, I suppose so. I mean, if it's an interesting thought. I would say that that Damien Hirst is no good at it, but I would be one of the few people who would say that. Nobody in the art business would agree with that. I would say that that large-boobed oik woman. What's her name? The one that speaks like that. What's Tracy Emin?
Yeah.
I would say that she's no good at art, but few people would agree with that as well.
Would you not like to just have a bash?
It doesn't really interest me. I have no desire to do it, no. I'd much rather watch TV.
That seems a shame, because you seem so interested in art.
Well, I think that 99% of the people who are interested in art aren't any good at doing it themselves. Like playing football or any other... And having said that, I do crosswords to more easily pull words out of the air. Suddenly, I've lost that ability as well.
That's a good point, and you've made it well.
Yeah, I know. If only.
Hey, great to speak to you.
So what made you take up art, then?
Well, it sort of started with a sort of art therapy course that I went on.
All right.
And
you got a feel for it?
Yeah.
So what's your chosen field?
It's not a chosen field, but I just thought, well, have a go. And
Was it painting or sculpture or what?
I do painting,
right.
Yeah.
And what are you painting now?
I'm painting, at the moment, I've just finished, I finished one oil painting, and I'm halfway through another two, and it's just such a lovely thing to think, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, it's in you, and
then you sign your name at the bottom of it, and you think, yeah, I've done that.
Right. And it's in you, and it's best come out. Right. Well, I think like any endeavour, most people that enjoy it aren't any good at doing it. But if you've got a gift, then yeah, go ahead and wow me.
I probably am a bit rubbish, but my tip for you would be, don't bother with watercolours. Try oils. They're very forgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Henry. I'll tell you what. I'll get a big canvas, and I'll with gloss paints that you can buy at Homebase. I'll just draw a lot of little circles, I'll sell it to you for £1 million. 'Cause that's what Damien Hirst seems to do successfully well.
Yeah, someone's already doing that.
Dot paintings. Can you believe that? Or, worse, I'll get a round canvas and I'll put a spike to the middle of it and spin it and just pour paint on it. That's another £1 million, please. I just don't get it. Damien Hirst again.
And you won't even do it. You'll get somebody else to do it.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Modern British art is rubbish.
Did you ever watch Watercolour Challenge? That was good.
No.
With Hannah... Oh, what was her name? The woman who killed Victor Meldrew. Hannah Gordon.
Hannah Gordon?
Mm.
Killed Victor Meldrew?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was dead.
Oh, sorry.
Did Victor Meldrew die?
Yeah.
Well, don't tell us.
In the last episode.
Did he? That's a programme I never watched.
Oh. Very good, very funny.
Right. If I want to see a grumpy old man, I'll go home, have a chat with my dad. Here is Canary Wharf. Mitch.
Yeah, hello, Nick.
How are you?
I spoke to you a little while ago about congestion charge.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't tell you what my job is.
What's your job?
A taxi driver.
Oh, yeah.
And I work from Stansted Airport.
Right.
And what you said about Stansted Airport, they are going to build the other runway. It's already been made. But tipping. Now, I pick up people from all over the world that come into the airport. And I want you to guess who are the best tippers.
Americans.
No.
Okay.
Right.
Not Americans.
Tippers, not Americans. Americans are good tippers. I've just taken an American down to the Edgware Road.
Right, well, they're not European.
No. Best European tippers. And the worst.
But the best tippers aren't European.
Yeah, they're European.
They are European.
They are European.
Okay, well, it's not the French.
No.
Because the French and the Spanish, it's not the Spanish either, because they both are used to having the tip included in the general price of the meal. You get a meal and it doesn't say tip service included. They don't even need to write that because it is. And Spain, similar. In fact, Spanish people dislike being tipped. They take offence if you tip too much. You'll just leave a couple of pence.
Take offence.
Like if it's £25.87, then you'd leave the extra 13 pence. But if you start tipping them 10%,
the tightest people, or who've got the reputation of being the tightest people.
Are you asking me now?
Yeah.
We do.
No, the Scottish, yeah.
Well, all right.
They are the biggest tippers.
The Scottish are the biggest tippers?
The Scottish are the biggest tippers.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever taken Scottish people without getting a good tip. And the worst people?
Well, they must have been drunk.
No, well, maybe they are, but whenever I get Scots in the car, brilliant, I know.
But that goes against the national stereotype completely.
That's why I thought I'd give you a call and tell you.
Right, okay, so the Scots are the best tippers.
The Scots are the best, and the worst?
The English?
Nope.
The French? The Spanish? The Norwegians?
Norwegians.
Right. Well, is it because they're all teenagers with wandering around in a group with backpacks?
These could be families.
Right.
Coming through England, going off to Spain on holiday, because they have to fly into England and out again. But they are probably the worst passengers I have.
Huh.
They're loud, they're rude, they're obnoxious, they never tip. And they always complain about the price.
Norwegians?
Yeah, but I want to just congratulate the Scottish passengers for being...
so generous.
Biggest open wallet people there are.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for the surprise, Mitch.
That's a pleasure.
Cheers, mate. Ta-da.
Okay, bye-bye.
Now, if I had sat here from now until next week, I would never have come up with that. Because the reputation of the Scots is that they're very, very tight.
Well, maybe that's why they're tipping so much now, to reverse the stereotype.
Okay.
But I don't like tipping, really, because I find it... I get anxious about calculating the right amount a lot of the time.
I like the way that... I like tipping in America. Not necessarily the giving of the money, but just the way in which the money is given. Because in this country, if you tip, mostly it's going to be coins. And there's no elegant way of passing a coin from one person to the next. Particularly if Don't you hate the way... this is a sidetrack, but don't you hate the way in shops they'll give you your change and they'll put the note in your palm first and the coins on top of the note, which then slide off the note onto the floor?
And quite often it's the note, it's the receipt, and then the note, and then the coins.
So, and so you have to just grasp the whole lot in your fist and then sort it out as you're walking away. What they should do, are you listening to me, shop assistants? Put the coins in your hand first, and then the notes on top, and then it all stays in the palm of your hand.
I've got quite skilled, though, having my wallet open and getting that note slid in, and the coins going off the top of the note into the next compartment.
A wallet? I've never really understood the concept of wallets. Why do you need a wallet? Just put it in your pocket, man.
No, you can't do that.
But if somebody nicks your wallet, then that's everything gone. But how can they just take it out of your front pocket?
Well, what happens when you sit down and it all falls out?
From your front pocket?
Yeah.
How would it fall out your front pocket?
Because...
kind of bizarre comedy clown trousers are you wearing?
Very short, pocketed ones.
Yeah, Alex, how does it fall out your front pocket?
It just feels too... it would feel too unsecured for me.
Right.
Money, like, just...
right, as opposed to...
flapping around in the pocket.
Oh, where do you put your wallet? In your back pocket, right?
No. In my front.
Right.
I've kind of poo-pooed my own theory, really, haven't I? But, yeah, or sometimes I put it in my bag. Like a girl. Because I don't like a wallet bulge.
No,
in
quite.
pocket.
Yeah, you look like you've got some sort of problem.
Yeah.
Like a girl? What kind of bag are you carrying? Show me your bag.
Girls don't have wallets, they have purses.
Oh, well, I see what you mean. Here is Stevenage. Hello, Ian.
Hi, Nick. Nick, I just thought I'd phone because I heard you talking earlier, but I was just listening to that last conversation, and I spend about 6 months of the year in Spain and in like bars and hotels and stuff. And the worst tippers I find are the Germans, because you just notice and you look at the change that they leave on the tables, and they're just absolutely diabolical.
Huh. Well, everyone's going to have their own opinions about this, but traditionally I think the British are the worst.
I think we're the best. I mean, the amount of people that I'd like speak to, and I always like look at the change they leave on the tables, and it's far more than any other people at all. It's unbelievable.
Well, I don't know what. It's such a long time since I've been to Germany. I don't know what what the tradition of tipping is over there. But I know that in Spain and in France and places like that, they don't tip because everything is included in the bill.
I guess so, Nick. Also, I heard you talking earlier about sandwiches, and because I eat quite a lot as well, and I find it quite frustrating that you can only buy turkey and cranberries, doorsteps and baguettes around Christmas time. Why don't we offer it all year round? Because it's very frustrating.
Well, that's a good point. Turkey is not just for Christmas. It's for all year long, yeah.
And you can only buy... the only place you can buy Christmas puddings in is Spar shops, and you just can only buy turkey and cranberry at Christmas time.
Right. Good point, Ian.
All right, mate.
Thanks a lot.
Cheers, bye.
Yeah, because I had turkey the other night, and you know what? It tastes just like chicken. 9:45. Travel now with Amanda Redmond.
We're looking at delay.
See the... Did I do that myself? Every time you pull yourself up to the desk, you automatically turn your mic off, because whatever dope organised this studio, it was an engineer probably, Alex, put the what they call a cough button, which cuts your mic out. I can't hear what I'm saying. They put it right where you pull yourself up to the bumper, baby. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't.
They put your headphone socket there too, which is handy.
I know, you could
poke yourself.
Exactly. Golston, hello, Alex.
Oh, hi, Nick. I've just got a bit confused there, because you've got a producer there called Alex as well, haven't you?
That's right.
I was about to sort of speak a few seconds ago when you said Alex. I was going back to your conversation a few minutes ago about you're talking about Art and Tracy Emin and Damien Hirst.
Art with a capital F, yeah.
Sorry?
Go on.
Well, I'm an artist myself, and you sounded like you were sort of despairing in sort of modern artists or modern British artists.
No, just those two.
Oh, okay, right.
I just don't get their success. I mean, who says that they're artists?
I know, yeah. I mean, myself and my girlfriend are artists as well, and I've got a similar sort of chip on my shoulder about those two in particular, and
It's because they're so very successful is the problem, isn't it? I mean, if they just went ahead and they sold their stuff for, you know, a couple of £100 here and a couple of £100 there, which is exactly what they're worth, then nobody would care. But as they're millionaires, it's very upsetting.
Yeah, it's sort of going well into the, I think, Damien Hirst's latest show, he's selling stuff for sort of 5 million upwards, and
yeah.
I mean, what I think would have been really interesting would have been to get someone like Pablo Picasso, who unfortunately died in the 70s or something. If he is still alive now, I think it just would be very interesting to ask his opinion as a completely, you know, undisputed sort of probably one of the best artists 20th century. If you asked him what he thought of Damien Hirst or Tracy Emin's work, then I think that would be a sort of quite a good indication as to, you know, how they rated his artist.
Yeah, well, you know what, Alex? We don't need Pablo Picasso. We just need our own eyes. Just open your eyes and see. There's an unmade bed. What does that make you want to do? Apart from make it.
Yeah. I mean, I could reel off a few artists who I've tracked down, because, you know, I'm always looking at all the latest artists and...
Keeping your eye out for the latest thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a guy in London who's pretty cool called Jiro Usaga. And I've never met him, but I've seen his work on, I think he's with the Flowers Gallery. His work is quite cool.
Right.
And there's Matthew Draper, who I reckon is going to be out there with Monet in a few years. He's only about... No, I mean, I think his work is absolutely stunning. It's really, really streets ahead of everything else.
All right.
And I think you could put it next to a Monet and it would hold his own.
Okay, then.
Yeah, that's my opinion. So there are a few around, but unfortunately... those guys' work are only selling for about a couple of grand as opposed to millions. But
well, like Bottom's opinions on art. Everyone's got one.
Yeah.
Hey, does the Tate open late on Saturday night, Helen? Maybe
it's
you know
Friday night.
Does it not open late on Saturday as well?
I don't know. It's definitely Friday night, but I'm not sure about Saturday.
I haven't seen the Big Crack yet.
You should go and see the Big Crack.
Yeah, I want to go and take a peek. Have you seen it, Alex?
No, I haven't actually. No, my girlfriend wants to see that, but apparently people are falling down it and sort of spraying it. They need a few road cones around the side.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, right, thanks for Nick. Right.
Shut up. There's a few exhibitions over on the Tate that I want to go and take a peek at, but unfortunately it was, what was the name of the person that did the big double-ended horn? It's not Zaha Hadid, it's somebody else whose name I can never conjure up.
I know, every time,
Yeah. Whoever did that, and it was called something like Mother or something like that, something beginning with M. Whoever did that spoilt the Turbine Hall for anyone who will follow them, because you cannot... I think it would be impossible to beat the very first turbine installation. Who was it? Yeah, I think it was an Asian name of a woman, right? Which always makes me think Zaha Hadid. Crazy name, crazy gal.
I was thinking Hatoum, but I think that's slightly wrong.
Catford, Trixie.
Hi. You've been to New York, haven't you?
A long time ago, yeah. Went for a freezing cold weekend in January.
Fabulous. Do they have the same kind of weather as we do now?
No, it's cold, like, if it was as cold here as it was there, the country would seize up forever.
Well, this country would?
Yes.
Oh, rubbish.
No,
well, this country might, but I wouldn't.
This,
But they actually have a really brilliant autumn there, don't they?
Oh, autumn, no, I was in January, where it was, it was so cold. I've never been anywhere as cold as that, and I've been skiing in Scotland.
Yeah, I particularly thought about this time of the year, because, you know, walking through, for example, you see it on TV, Central Park, and you know the way I feel about, you know, trees and leaves and the autumn. It must be just so fabulous to walk around.
Much better to walk around a London park than Central Park, because in Central Park there's no getting away from you're a tiny island in the middle of this hideous concrete monstrosity.
Yeah, but you get away from the concrete, don't you?
No, you can't get away from it because it's on your eye level everywhere you look.
Well, if you avert your eye level slightly.
Well, you can't. Well, you could only look down and not see the towers that surround
Central
Park.
You're really down on New York, aren't you?
Well, it's true. We got better parks than they do.
Oh, all right. So which park would you recommend I went to?
Well, they all have their plus points.
Mm-hmm.
Well, which one? Well, if you want to feel like you're in the countryside, you have to go to Hampstead Heath. Don't go to Richmond Park, because that's just so boring. It's flat and featureless.
Oh, all
right.
But, you know, Regent's Park and Hyde Park, and they're all great. Green Park is... no, Green Park's not that great.
But you don't recommend that for me to pop over to New York and have a look at their...
Not to go to the park, no.
All right.
There's no nature in New York. There's just got this tiny little island in the middle that's, no, it's not it's a place where nature has turned its back.
And film crews doing joggers for movies and things. Yes, I guess. All right. You're in fine fettle today, Nick.
Am I?
Well, you are. You...
Fettle? What?
Fettle.
What does that mean?
What are you you don't talk
No, I know what it means, but what is a fettle?
I have no idea.
Can you Google that for me, Helen?
I think it's, isn't it from horses?
Well, it sounds right, yeah. In fine fettle. Yeah.
Yes, in fine fettle, of fine spirits, possibly.
Right.
I mean, that's what it sounds like. You're getting on it, everyone. I think it's fabulous. By the way, men carrying handbags. Alex, don't you listen to him.
Yeah.
Because my third ex-husband, he always carried some kind of a bag. It's useful for carrying stuff.
Yeah, I carry bags. Here, apparently it's a cheese. Fine fettle is a cheese from Yorkshire.
Oh, well,
So I'm considering being offended.
I don't know. It's just a phrase. It's just saying. No, I didn't mean you're a cheese.
Right. Well,
maybe it means.
You want to think before you start throwing out insults like that, dear.
It wasn't an insult. I think it probably means you're ready, you're ripe, you're ready, you're mature. Fine fettle.
Cheesy. Yeah.
Green fettle, my dear.
All right. I've got to go, Trixie. Time for a break. Cheers, Maria. Ta-da. 9:55.
Come on, we're running late.
Hey, Clive is ill. Maybe he had one of those donuts. And Anthony Davis is going to be in after the new news. Putney, Rachel.
Hello.
Hey, Rachel.
I love your programme.
I love yours.
Disagree with you about New York. Disagree with you about New York, but I agree with you totally about Tracy Emin. But I wouldn't make her bed. Would you make her bed?
No, not with tongs.
Change the sheets first.
I know.
She's revolting.
She is revolting.
She's disgusting, and I say I'd like to kill Nicholas Sirota and Charles Archie, both of them, because
It's their fault. You're right.
the whole bloody thing is a con.
Yes, I would have to agree with you. Much of it is, yeah. The new British artists, of which Damien Hirst and Tracy Emin are the shining lights. I do believe it is a con. It's art because those two individuals that you named, because they say it's art. Exactly.
Well, that's what Marcel Duchamp said when he put the urinal up.
Yeah, it's art because he says so.
Yes, that's right.
But you know, but you hit the thing right in the head there. Marcel Duchamp, the urinal. When was that? It was like 1908, 1910, something like that. And people are still doing that idea.
They sold it, and it wasn't even that.
Right. Well, there's a can of that at the Tate.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
And it cost tens of thousands of pounds.
And the other day I read in the Times that somebody sold a huge heart, some kind of heart.
Yeah, that was yeah, exactly. Jeff Koons.
And the Van Gogh didn't sell.
Yes, that's right.
That broke my heart.
Yeah, I was a little upset about that too, yeah.
I was furious. So glad I got you before 10 o'clock.
But you know what? The thing about Jeff Koons that I did find pleasing about that was that now Damien Hirst is not the highest priced living artist. Jeff Koons is.
Who is?
Jeff Koons.
Oh, my God. Well, at least Damien Hirst puts real diamonds in something.
Well,
that's the only worthy thing.
But at least Jeff Koons has got a sense of humour, where I don't find any humour in Damien Hirst's work, apart from the price tag. That makes me laugh out loud.
I could cry.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Hey, have you got? You're in Putney. Have you got your lights on?
Yes.
You haven't had a electricity blackout?
No.
Oh, right. Okay. Just some people in Putney.
You'd be lightening up my evening anyway.
Oh, what a sweet thing to say. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra. Yeah, Jeff Koons, he was married to La Cicciolina. Maybe he still is. But there is something playful and amusing about Jeff Koons, whereas you couldn't say that about Damien Hirst, right?
Have you seen some of
with his dead cows and his flies?
Is erotic stuff?
Is it?
Jeff Koons. Have you seen any
it's Jeff
of his
Koons, yeah.
erotic? Damien Hirst isn't erotic,
Not
is
erotic,
he?
no. Not really. No.
It's not sexy.
At all.
What he does.
No. animals cut in half with a chainsaw. No. Not something you'd really want to live with.
No.
You wouldn't want to nail one of his to the wall.
But then I wouldn't want to live with any of Jeff Koons' art.
Well, I don't know. I mean, some of his things, like a steel blow-up bunny. See? You're smiling already.
But you need the mansion house to go with it,
you'd find a pedestal in your house to stick a blow-up steel bunny.
Yeah.
Of course. Oh, I forgot my amusing music. Times are come and gone. Oh well, I'll have to have the ordinary music instead. So this has been a show in which we've talked about
donuts.
Is that what you got written down?
Footy.
Donuts and football, and they go together like
Abbot and Costello.
Oh yeah, Abbot and Costello.
Morecambe and Wise.
Who else?
Tom and Jerry.
Yeah. Anyone else? Laurel and Hardy.
No, 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 no.